first warning. That night, as we texted, she pushed me to open up about my friend's death and how it affected me. I'm usually open-hearted, but I barely knew her, which made me hesitant. Eventually, I shared my feelings with her. Later, she began expressing dark thoughts, saying no one would miss her if she were gone. As my anxiety rose, I struggled to respond. In a panic, I assured her that she was needed, even blurting out "I love you" in desperation as her mood escalated. That should have been a clear warning, but I wished I had seen it sooner and ended things after the game. Yet, thinking she might be suicidal, I felt trapped. I pretended to like her a bit longer. Our school's homecoming dance was approaching, and I asked her to join me. But then, one night, she ran off. Her friend texted me saying Lisa was threatening to end her life. I was furious. I called her, demanding to know where she was. Despite my threats to call the police, she begged me not to. I drove frantically, speeding through every street. She told me she was at a cliff, considering jumping. My anger mixed with fear. I found myself crying and shouting uncontrollably. As I raced toward her, only to find her near a woman who was simply trying to move an owl from the road. I stopped abruptly and rushed out, pleading with the woman to help me locate Lisa. I found Lisa near the trees and had to pull her out of a ditch.
Probably y'all after y'all saw this, I believe.
Suddenly she switched from despair to anger.
I was being like, think of her because like, I'm gonna get so many of that. I'm gonna just put it in.
I wanted to break up with Lisa, but was unsure how to proceed. I nearly made up my mind to do it. But I was very scared. What if I left her and she hurt herself? She was always on my mind. I worried about her all the time. Her friends also came after me, causing trouble and enjoying the drama like hungry lions tearing into a fresh kill. Eventually, I gathered enough courage and broke up with her when it felt right. I was finally feeling good, feeling strong. I was in charge again. I even stood up to her when she called me bad names and accused me wrongly. I told her she was manipulating me and how terrible her two-faced version was. I explained to her how twisted her view of reality was.
I'm gonna finish that a little bit too today. I'm gonna make that look better. Subtitle pen. It's awesome people in the water.
Lisa and Griffin were not just messing with me and my friends' heads, but they were secretly together while I was still dating Lisa. My friends and I decided to cut them out of our lives. Griffin disappeared.
Hell
Lisa
yeah,
kept
bro.
causing problems. She sent her friends to mess with us. My friend Anna, the only other girl in our group, got hurt really badly because of them. I couldn't take it anymore. I told the school principal everything. The school did nothing much. They just told them to stop and weirdly told me to stop. Whenever Lisa harassed us, I blocked her or made her look foolish if it happened in person. Eventually, they realized they couldn't affect us anymore. But then the lockdown started, and things got really bad again. Harassment increased because they knew they couldn't get in trouble at school anymore. I even got pictures showing Lisa and Griffin being inappropriate over video calls. She was acting very inappropriately, showing herself off. I felt sick inside. As the first anniversary of our friend's death approached, I hoped the sadness would make them stop their games. But of course, it didn't. Last night, at about 1 a.m., I received a text from an unknown number. The message said I was disgusting and ugly. I kept asking who it was, though deep down, I had a suspicion. They hurled insults, and I fired back, showing I wouldn't be bullied. ruined my life. People thought my parents were abusing me. Then suddenly they shifted, saying they loved me and wanted me to be their wife, and bizarrely calling me gay. None of it made any sense, and I was really getting scared. Their behavior was erratic and frightening. Things got even worse when they said they knew where I lived and described my house in detail. I grabbed a baseball bat from next to my bed and rushed downstairs to check the windows. Outside was pitch black. My instincts screamed at me to either fight or run. As I peered into the darkness for any movement, my phone vibrated. They said they were in my backyard. Trying to remain calm, I texted back, but was actually panicking. I hurried to the back windows, but it was still too dark to see anything. I knew I had to call the police. Soon, 2 police cars arrived. My parents and I stayed up later, talking with the officers. I showed them the texts, and they asked if anyone had threatened me before or if I had done something that might lead to this. That's when I mentioned my unhinged ex. After the police left, I received another text saying I was boring and they were going to block me. Maybe the police presence scared them off, or perhaps they lost interest because I wasn't reacting anymore. Either way, it had escalated too much. I'll keep updating whatever happens, but I hope that if anything else does occur, it will finally be the end of it. I was just 18 when I met Alex.
Hey, I'm gonna kill the Energizer soon, so I don't know. I haven't found a Bastion yet, but I've been to the Nether. I want to find a Bastion. That's it. I haven't found a fortress.
He hurt me in many ways and seemed to enjoy causing pain. His name is Alex.
That's what I find. This.
I was very scared and unhappy. Our relationship only lasted a year, but it felt much longer because of the fear. Every time I tried to leave, Alex would threaten to hurt me and my family. He would drag me back home, hurt me,
I'm gonna
and say
fix
he
up
would do
this
worse
place.
things if I tried to leave again. He even said he would end his life if I left him. He followed me everywhere, making me feel trapped. One day I decided I had enough. I was not going to go back to him no matter what. He started calling my workplace all the time, causing trouble for me. He did the same at my home, so I had to disconnect the phone. He then sent me a text saying he would end his life if I didn't return to him. But this time, I didn't give in. Instead, I called his mother at her job and told her
They had to catch another plane.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, they went from here to ATL,
ATL.
and then from ATL they're gonna go to
Atlanta? Okay.
and then from Atlanta they gotta go to Washington DC.
Damn.
We did not know she was on two planes.
So what she even go to DC for anyways?
To go look at colleges. There's like a lot of colleges out there.
So you telling me she gonna leave state to go to college?
I mean, it was a.
That's crazy.
No, they just wanted to see like. They had to write like an essay and all of that
Yeah.
as to why they want to go over there.
Shit, but you never know. Leia might get in.
Who knows, right? Yeah. I mean, they're just basically looking at colleges over there.
That's good.
Right?
Shit, I wish I could go look at colleges and shit. Back then, we didn't even look at colleges like that.
Right? Or New State.
No bullshit.
Right?
I said firmly, just come out for a few minutes, please. Alex tried to sound nice. Why can't you stop calling me and showing up at my house? Can't you
I need
respect
some
my
water.
wishes? I asked, even though I knew he wouldn't really answer. I feel bad about everything. I made something.
Are you gonna make your base out of bamboo? I'm gonna be honest with you. I never saw a base out of bamboo like that. Like, I never saw somebody build it out of it. I don't know, like build out of it because like, I don't know. I like this. I like that. It look
He
nice.
was still sitting in his car looking up at the house.
The texture, I don't know. The texture look
I
nice.
promise, he said, sounding somewhat
I need
believable.
water. Gotta.
I drove all
You're
the way
welcome,
here
bro.
to give you what I made.
Gotta keep working on
Just to
this.
say goodbye
I
properly.
need a little bit more
Alex
sand,
said, trying to
please.
sound
Just a
sad
little
and
bit.
sincere. At the time, I was still young.
Broski, when I woke up, my phone was on like 9%. My girl was calling me. I was passed. I was knocked out.
Okay, just a few minutes.
So tired.
I said clearly. And you promise you won't try to make me
Like,
come
fuck
back?
that. My bad for my language. I don't cuss that much. I'm trying to cuss less.
I opened the door of the passenger
But,
side and sat down, leaving
yeah.
the door wide open.
Shit.
He made a joke, saying I must think he was going to kidnap me.
Oh, that's the one thing I'm gonna let you know. I don't know. Sometimes I lag sometimes. So right now it's not that bad.
TV show he had made for me. Just starting to talk when my phone rang. I knew I shouldn't have answered it. It was a coworker calling, but I did anyway. Alex heard it was a man on
Don't worry, Turd. I'm making you a pound soon.
After I hung up, Alex's face turned very angry. He started asking me questions about who had called, but before I could answer, he suddenly hit the gas pedal and we sped down the street, my door still wide open. I pulled my legs inside the car, screaming at him to stop, but he didn't seem to hear me. I tried to jump out when he slowed down at intersections, but he grabbed my clothes to keep me inside and started making sharp turns to force my door shut. Once he managed to close the door, I tried to open it again, but he kept locking. He drove faster and faster, making it dangerous for me to try and jump out. It was getting dark now. He sped through the streets of the town, way over the speed limit. I hoped a police officer would notice and pull us over. No one did. Soon, we were on the freeway. My heart was pounding. On the freeway, he could go even faster and take me wherever he wanted. It took only 3 minutes to reach the freeway at the speed he was driving, all while I tried desperately to get out of the car. Once we were on the freeway, he drove even faster, over 100 miles per hour. I kept my eyes on the speedometer. It was too fast, much too fast to jump from a moving car on a busy freeway in the dark. Other cars were zooming past and they wouldn't see me in time. I still had my phone,
I need
so
glow
I tried to dial
pickles.
911. I hid my hand down by the side of the seat away from Alex, but he noticed and started to drive wildly, trying to grab my phone. I don't know how he managed
He's
to
learning.
because I was
Hey, that's good, bro. That's what I like about this.
rolled down
Like,
his window and
if it was regular
then
Minecraft,
he rolled the window back up and said,
if it was regular Minecraft, you know, like it'd be boring. It'd be a little bit boring, less, you know.
those words made my heart drop.
Cause like regular Minecraft, you don't even got this kind of stuff. Like this is the crazy part. You know, and you know that. Come over here. That's good to use for like decorations. I don't know if you like to use them.
I started to scream for
I'm
help
like,
and bang on the
I use them. I'm trying to use them
tinted
more.
them so darkly that I
Like
doubted anyone
I
would
did
see me
like
even if it
no
hadn't been
like
so
this right
dark
here,
inside.
like the.
As we passed other cars, the people inside seemed
And I
not to
put
notice
a
that I had
table right
gotten
here.
in my car.
Yeah, that's my pet dinosaur. You know.
But I kept thinking over and over about how I might survive this. I decided to stop showing fear and fighting back, because it seemed the only way to survive was to play into Alex's thoughts.
Can we feed him? I can't even feed him.
Alex had a friend named Jose, who he was very close with.
Which he's my pet. Oh, we gotta throw it at him.
From another place because he was in trouble for something very bad. Alex was
Where was
taking
that?
the route to Jose's
Stop.
house, and I knew that if we got there,
Thank
Jose
you.
would do whatever Alex
He gonna eat it soon.
Jose and I were okay with each other,
Um,
but he would always side with Alex.
there's a sheep in here. What the hell? Get out of here.
I
Not for
told
you.
Alex that I loved him and wished we could be together, but his actions made it hard to believe he cared about what I wanted. I hadn't used that reason before for wanting to leave him because our
Okay,
problems were bigger than that, but I hoped it would give Alex some hope and calm him down. I mentioned the flowers and DVDs, saying they made me think about giving him another chance, but his refusal to take me home when I asked made me doubt everything again. Alex took the exit.
Hey, broski, I'm gonna go to the Nether, but peaceful. But yeah, I'm gonna go to the Nether and peaceful soon. So if you wanna come, okay. Wait for me. Wait for me. Wait for me.
They usually spoke in Spanish. I wouldn't understand what they were
I'm gonna put
playing.
all this stuff away. Make sure you got food, cause when we found the fortress, when we're inside of it, we're gonna play it. We're gonna play it easy, so we can get blaze vibes. That's the only thing we need to blaze vibes. And you can get your levels. Oh hey, come here. I don't know if you want this. I drop it on the floor.
The ride was tense. Alex was usually very sharp.
You get it?
And I didn't want him to guess what I was thinking. I don't remember much about our conversation.
No, not that one. Put that one back.
But I kept it to normal. Everyday
What the?
topics,
It's right here.
trying to act as usual. When we reached my house, Alex let me open the door.
So you get
and
a
tried to
little more
stop me from
levels.
leaving.
Yeah.
I stepped out, took the flowers and DVDs, and waved at him before walking.
Let's go to bed right quick. And then
Once
you can
inside,
head in there.
everything in the
Local owners of Floor Coverings International offer a whole world of choices from their mobile flooring showroom. They'll give you
What's up, Second View? How you doing?
That's why their customers have made them one of the highest
Cool.
rated floor companies. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
there were certain
We're going to the
indoor sciences if you
blog.
speak about climate change. One of these
when we come back, we gotta go on a mining trip.
Change is tricky. There's a disconnect between
Cause
what
shit,
the
I need
science
all
says
the
and
data
what
materials.
the
So I'm
narrative
just
and
putting stuff in
mainstream
here.
media is.
The only thing I want to bring with me is
What I would call
my
activist scientists have
my
kind of
food
pushed
and my diamond pick and my diamond sword. And I'm not
so
bringing,
much damage to mental health
and some golden apples. I only got 3 of them. So
anxiety issue the college students that I talk to.
hold on, wait for me. I'm
The
coming right now.
science does not support that fear.
All right, I gotta put it
think
on
that fear
peaceful.
is irrational. Trash and collapsed on my couch, shaking but relieved to be home. The next day, I went to the police and got a restraining order against me.
Shield. That's what I need with
Eventually,
my shield.
Alex
I
was
got a
caught for
shield
other
here.
terrible things and was sentenced to many years in jail. I didn't feel
I'm gonna
completely
new one.
safe
I know
until
I
I
got
heard he was behind bars. Alex was exactly where he belonged, and I hope to never see him again.
Oh hell yeah.
About 9 months
Yeah.
ago, I was in a very dark place and was struggling a lot to find any kind of happiness or motivation in my life.
I need
My social life was non-existent.
my shield.
My dad had
I'm gonna just make a new.
cancer, and
Nah,
I had
fuck. I'm
practically no one
taking
to help me. That is, until I met my ex.
Oh, I'm bringing a bow and arrow too, cause this
I met
people,
Mark
they're
online in some sort of
skeletons.
group chat, and we instantly hit it
Forgot,
off.
forgot
She
one.
was
Yeah.
very funny,
Here we go.
and we shared many interests.
You ready? I got blocks. You need some
I was
blocks?
instantly
Here.
attracted to her and wanted to
I
talk to
need
her
some
every
blocks.
day.
I don't
Because at
want
that
you to get
point, She
lost.
was pretty much all I had. And finally, after about a month of talking, I decided
go.
to ask the question, and that was by far the biggest mistake I ever made. At first he said as time went on, he slowly revealed things about his past that were quite dark.
So I
At the
went
time, she
one
told me
way.
that her ex-boyfriend had raped her
It's by the
and gotten
mansion.
away.
We could go
And then
that
tried to
way
commit suicide.
because I've already been there.
Now,
But we
I've
could
met
go
many
because
victims
like
of
it's
sexual
next
assault,
to
and I
a
have to say that everything she said
soul
was just
sand
in my
biome.
head. And she would always
I
change the
think
story
it
to
might
make
be
it
a
a
fortress
hostage
over
situation.
there.
But at the
Might,
time, I was in such
I
a
don't know.
horrible state
I
of
don't
mind
know
that I
yet.
just
We
swept
go
it
that
all
way
up
if you
and
want.
moved on. She quickly began to show her true colors,
Okay.
becoming the complete
It's
opposite
not
of the
peaceful.
girl
You
I
good?
first met, who talked about
We
how
gotta
she
go. Hold on.
absolutely
Let me
hates
take
every
these shears
race
off because I
other than
can't see
white,
shit.
and that
We
she
gotta go this
thinks
way.
rapists are the most attractive people. This really put me off and completely surprised me, as expected. Literally every day she revealed things that were so disgusting and wrong. It was around December when I broke the news that my dad was dying and only had a week left. Well, she took the opportunity and told me that her grandfather had cancer and that it was best to leave them alone because they were already
This
stressed
way,
enough.
shit.
Everyone would call me a complete idiot because I actually believed her and thought she really wanted to help me. But how wrong I was. My father passed away 3 days later and I was devastated. The funeral came and I was there for about 6 hours.
We gotta
meeting family
go.
and
Be
friends
careful.
and
Be
going
careful.
through the process.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
While I was gone,
This,
she went out and cheated on me with her ex-boyfriend.
be careful. It
Who I
might be a
later
drop.
found
I
out
don't.
is a convicted sex offender and is like 23 or something. We were 15 at the time, but I didn't actually find out until many months later. And you won't believe it, but she was actually pretending to be the perfect girlfriend of all time, as well as manipulating me and trying to ruin me. About 2 months after the funeral, I caught her red-handed cheating and was absolutely furious. She told me that it wasn't her who was sending nudes, but that her friends took her phone, and they were the ones who sent nudes to the guy. At first, I didn't
It's
really
this way.
believe
We
her at
gotta
all,
go this way.
and she decided to pull out the suicide card and made me believe that she had actually overdosed. And almost immediately, I tried to contact her family, and someone took Mark's phone and texted me text to 911.
Oh, I gotta say it right there, but you know.
I was extremely
Shit.
gullible at the time, I know. And as you
You
may
gotta be
guess,
careful
she was
coming
full
over
of
here
shit and
because,
was all lying.
man.
But as with many things,
I got golden
we didn't
apples,
really know
but that's
until
not gonna
months later.
save me probably.
After the apparent suicide attempt, we decided to start over and start over. But things stayed the same, and I learned more about who she really was. One night she had gotten really drunk, and then she called me and was rambling about random things like fetishes, and told me that she thinks it would be really hot if she had sex with a corpse. And hearing that, you can imagine how I responded. I hung up immediately and barely spoke to her for about 2 days. That is until she told me that she was just drunk.
Oh, you're getting
And always
torched.
says
I didn't see
weird
that.
things like that. And of course, being totally naive, I gave it another chance. And this last chance is where the shit hit the fan. I came to remember the order of things when they happened. So I'll have to list what she did. She got into a fight and had bruises all over her body. And when she went to school, she burst into tears and told everyone that I was physically abusing her.
Here me get this right quick.
Lived an hour and a half away from each
I need levels too.
I
So I want to chop my sword. My sword is like a level. It's like basically diamond sword.
My phone was completely blowing up, and my teacher let me answer it to see what was going on.
Hey, wait, you know when I come this way?
And accused me of all kinds of crazy things, saying that I sexually abused her and beat her up. I totally lost my mind. I was yelling at these people while I was in class, and I received a lot of death threats. Many people called me and told me that they were going to find me. I was desperately trying to
Up
clear
here.
my name.
Oh shit. Okay.
Miraculously, I was able to convince people that there was
I already went through this. Not went through it, but I already looted this nether portal.
He went all crazy on me for over an hour. She called me and texted me saying terrible things, like how
What does it mean to be a fan? It means you have plans this Sunday. It means game day rituals and ridiculous outfits. It means meeting up in a chilly parking lot.
Be careful right here. It's like, you know, it's the port here.
A lot of snacks.
Yeah, we gotta.
Being a fan means you have
my dad.
Big ass
How I was
bridge.
so
This
miserable
is what.
because my best friend is
I hate this
black.
bridge.
And then she admitted all the bad
Now,
things
if it
she
was
did
longer
to me
than this,
behind
I'd be
my back.
crouching the whole way. Oh
Like
crap.
cheating on me with her 23-year-old rapist ex, flirting with random old men online and sending them nudes. I finally reached
I'm
my
gonna grab
breaking
this course
point
up here.
and cut off all contact with her. I
Hello,
never felt
course.
so relieved in my life. I'll be honest. I cried. Just knowing that this terrible, evil person tricked me into letting my father die alone and putting up with his twisted fantasies of necrophilia and murder. I can't believe I put up with it. I know I was extremely stupid during the whole ordeal, but you have to remember that I was not in the right state of mind and was very dependent on her for any kind
That
of
shows a lot,
happiness.
bro. I got 26 levels for that.
Here I am, almost a year later, with horrible trust issues, and I absolutely refuse to even hug people. I don't see myself having another relationship with
Okay,
anyone
we
for a
gotta go
long
this way.
time. But on a positive note, I'm much better now. I have accepted my father's passing, and I have many friends who are here to
This way
help.
actually,
But
because
to make matters worse, Mark is now pregnant, and was actually
another
institutionalized for
route.
telling the school counselor all of her confusing
Oh,
fantasies
so
and
I was trading with the piglins already.
her
It
chances
might
of having
you might see
anyone
some loot over here, like
So I guess in the end,
some
it's all
loot, but
homework, and
I
this
don't
ends with
care.
a happy ending,
It's like it's over here.
at least for me. If there's any advice I can give you, it's to make sure you get to know someone before
Oh,
you
be
have any kind
careful.
of relationship with them.
That's your
Just
goat?
control your life.
Huh? Shit. I gotta go back at the base and I want to make some golden apples with
In
them too.
hindsight, telling my
Dude,
parents
let's
about
fight
my
the end dragon.
sexuality could have been handled in
He wanna
countless
hit
other
hard.
ways. This approach,
Oh
I
crap.
would say, is the worst.
Hey, I'm gonna be over
Back in
there,
my first year at the new high school,
and I'll wait
I
for you,
found myself
cause
deeply involved in the school's drama club, both acting and
yeah, I'll be
helping
over
with
here.
costumes. Among my peers was Sophia, a remarkably attractive boy who always dressed in
We
tight
gotta
jeans.
make
The friend
stairs.
shared with me that
Nice.
Sophia liked both boys and girls. Eager to connect, I began flirting subtly, sharing funny pictures and messages with him, and seizing every chance to spend time together. After 3 months of slowly building our friendship and showing affection, I asked Sophia out on the final day of our drama production. He accepted. However, there was a serious problem. My mother, holding strong traditional beliefs, somewhat accepted gay people, but would never allow me to have a boyfriend under her roof. Thus, Sophia and I kept our relationship a secret. Initially, it wasn't too challenging. We would meet for movies or at his place, but the strain began when our physical relationship started. Sophia's demands for my time increased dramatically, driven by his constant desire and frustration. At first I managed, motivated by the thrill of our encounters, but the situation grew tiring. Balancing secrecy from my mother and maintaining my own social life became too much. I tried discussing this with Sophia, hoping for understanding.
Don't waste it. Why you gonna
He
waste the
seemed to
ender pearl,
agree
bro?
at
We
first, but
need
soon
them.
his behavior turned sour.
Oh,
He
okay.
avoided me at school, yet would send hurtful
You
texts,
crazy.
showing jealousy over my friends. The breaking point came one summer when I was on a trip to Florida. After enduring 9 months together, I ended our relationship through a text message. I know, not the best way, but I was just 16. Following the breakup, Sophia bombarded me with calls and messages for days. Then, as unexpectedly as it
Hey, after you're done with that, let's head this way.
I was out with friends,
I'm behind you.
pleading for us to get back together. Each time, I had to explain why it just couldn't work. By October, his behavior escalated. He would send alarming messages.
I already
in the
been
dead
over
of
here. We're almost there. We're almost there to the bastion. You should see it. You see it? So before we go over there, hey, 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 hey. Relax. Hold your horses. Ooh, I need one of them. Thank you. See? Hold on. Let me hold this in my offhand. What's it called? Before we, so I already looted. I don't know if that way. I hope it be another fortress. Hope so. Yeah. That's what I need another fortress. Give me a second. Hold on. I'm gonna put this right here. Keep going straight. I'm gonna keep going straight. I'm gonna build straight.
I felt relieved, hoping he would find the support he needed. However, I didn't fully grasp how fixated he had become on me.
Come on, that way up here.
One evening, returning from a play rehearsal, I spotted Sophia's car parked a little way down my street. He was just leaving my house as I arrived. My mom was on the porch, waving goodbye to him. She told me he had just stopped by since he was in the area. You should know, I'm the oldest of 7 brothers. At that time, the youngest of my brothers were very young, with the littlest one not yet born. My mom has always been the backbone of our family. My dad wasn't in jail, and my stepdad was away in the military. She's quite tall and strong, easily able to carry me despite my size. I'm over 6 feet tall and weigh around 180 pounds.
They come over here.
She's also an incredible marksman. Sophia, being more small, didn't stand a chance against her, especially not in her condition. I downplayed how often Sophia and I had been seeing each other.
We're gonna head that way
We continued
to the forest end. Go to.
Then, returning from another rehearsal, I saw Sophia again. His car was parked nearby.
Oh, hell
He
yeah.
was sitting on the porch with my mom. My youngest brother was on her lap. As I got out of the car, my mom signaled for me to come over. With a heavy heart, I approached. It turned out Sophia had told her everything about us, but twisted the story to make himself look like the victim and me the abuser. After sending Sophia away, who left with a smirk, my mom confronted me. I explained my side of the story. Thankfully, she believed me. However, she was still upset, and I ended up grounded. But that was nothing compared to what happened later that night. Our house isn't the sturdiest. Its old windows could be easily opened from outside. Sophia knew this because I had used it to sneak out before. My room faces the street, while my mom's room, where she and my toddler brother slept, faces the backyard. That night, I woke up around 2 a.m., feeling chilly. Putting on my glasses, I noticed my window was open. I quickly checked around and saw my bedroom door was also open. Then, I heard a soft sound from my mom's room, the sound of her door closing. Heart pounding, I crept towards her room, and then heard a chilling sound, the metallic click of a gun being cocked. I burst into her room. The lights were on. There was Sophia, cornered with a knife in his hand. My little brother was still asleep, and my mom,
Oh, thank you.
she was sitting calmly on the bed, her pistol aimed steadily at Sophia. She was reading a book, her glasses perched on her nose. She coolly instructed me to call the police while keeping her gun trained on him. The police arrived and took Sophia away.
This way.
My mom chose not to press charges, under the condition that he move away to live with his father in Arizona, far from our home in Missouri. From then on, I
Actually,
barely saw
you're right.
Sophia,
I
except
see what you see,
messages
and that's a lot of it.
friends,
And I want to
still
buy some of
trying to
that
reach
too.
out to me.
I'm gonna lie.
I sincerely hope for his sake and ours that our paths never cross again.
I just want the cores. I don't care about the gold. The gold, you could get gold out of it, but
When I was in my early 20s, I started dating a man named Tom. It was about a year since I had left a very bad relationship. Tom seemed nice at first. We had fun together, going out and sometimes partying more than we should. Tom had been through a tough time before we met. His previous girlfriend Anna had died, which had left him quite sad. Soon after we began dating, we decided to move in together. It all happened very fast. Tom wanted to put up pictures of Anna around our apartment to remember her. I didn't mind. It seemed important to him. Anna had a cousin Emily who used to visit Tom. As time went by, Emily started showing up more often. I didn't like Emily much. She was rude, and it seemed like she was always trying to be alone.
Hey, let's go up this way, bro.
Tom received a text. Emily had excused herself to the bathroom a few moments earlier. To my shock, she had taken an inappropriate photo of herself and sent it to Tom while I was right there next to her. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I knew I didn't want any part of it. I ended things with Tom and asked both of them to leave. Tom ended up moving in with his grandmother because he had nowhere else to go. Despite our breakup, he tried to get back together with me, often showing
grab
up
that.
at my workplace.
I got 30 levels already, but I still want more. What should we gonna? Hey, what should you think we should go? That way, or keep going through the soul sand biome? Yeah, we could go that way, or
Decline for a credit card due to poor credit? Download Settle. It's a new way to build credit and get a credit card.
good
Settle
stuff.
helps you establish payment history while building toward your credit card security deposit.
I'm just putting the blocks down for markers, so we don't have to get on the way back. Hello, Quartz. Grab all of it. Grab all of this, bro. Come on. You need some levels too. It's hella here. Ooh, hell yeah, glowstone.
To stop his constant attempts to contact me.
But glowstone, I like glowstone and the you know how like how the nether wood got that light, that kind of light like glowstone, but it's not. I like them too. They're nice.
They even forced the couple to go with them to withdraw money.
Nice to have.
They were caught and sent to jail, though it seemed like they weren't there long enough. I was managing a barbecue restaurant by then, living in a new place. One day, Tom appeared at the drive-thru. I barely recognized his voice. Seeing him there made my heart skip a beat. The harassment started again with calls to my workplace. I finally decided to leave my job and start my own business, hoping that would end all contact with him. I also swore off dating anyone remotely like Tom ever again. That decision led me to meet my husband, and we've now been happily married for over a decade. And I avoid anyone with a name even close to Tom's. It's a rule I live by now. This all started a couple of months ago when I was visiting my mom.
Hey, come over here.
Town.
Ooh, fortress, nigga, fortress. Hey, we gotta be careful though. It's like, come over here. Over here.
My mom works as a teacher at that college, which is just across the street from where we live. We have a 2-story house.
Oh, that's so far, bro.
From my bedroom window,
Be careful, you
can
gotta.
look down and see the street
You
clearly.
come here, you gotta.
Every single night, around midnight, my dogs would start barking and growling furiously. I tried many times to check from my window what was causing their distress, but I couldn't see anything. There are many trees and
It
bushes
take
in
longer
the
than
house,
I
so
would
perhaps
expect
whatever
because
was
like
bothering
sometimes
me
this shit
was
take me
hidden.
longer to
This
find a
had been happening
fortress.
every night for a week, and it was always at the same time, midnight. One night, I was particularly restless and couldn't sleep, so I ended up video chatting with my boyfriend to
Ooh,
pass the time.
blaze pounder, right here.
Clockwork, as soon as it hit midnight, my dogs began to bark louder than usual. I was sitting by my window, trying to
When you
sleep
get over
in.
here, I'm gonna put on easy because I need you over here. I don't want you to die or.
It seemed like I was about to find out what had been lurking in the shadows, unsettling my dogs. In an attempt to maybe catch a glimpse of whatever was out there, I decided to turn off all the lights in my room and sat in the darkness, watching and waiting. I watched the street from a spot where I was hidden from view. My boyfriend, still on video chat, guessed it might be a fox or a raccoon, since wildlife was common in our area, but I was certain it wasn't just an animal. After my boyfriend fell asleep, I remained glued to the window. Around 1:30 a.m., I noticed movement by the bushes. A figure, dressed entirely in black, was crouching behind them. My whole body froze in fear, but I didn't want to alarm my mom yet. I'd already mentioned the dog's nightly agitation to her, but like my boyfriend, she had dismissed it as animal disturbances. I just watched the figure silently, gratefully couldn't see me.
Hey, get your butt in here,
The
bro.
figure began to move stealthily, staying low to remain unseen.
Close this up.
However, from my vantage point on the second floor, I could see him clearly. He crept along our fence until he reached the neighbor's driveway, where a car was parked.
This part right here, cause
Suddenly,
I don't
things
know,
escalated.
cause right
He
here,
produced a Molotov cocktail,
actually,
lit it, and hurled it into the car. The car
If anything, like, for weird skeletons, because they be
I finally
spawning.
called for my mom. The figure sprinted away, disappearing down the street as quickly as a startled cat. My mom was on the phone with the police and firefighters, but by the time they arrived, the man was nowhere to be found. The next day, a police officer called us. He had been to our house the previous night.
Hey, come here.
It turned out they had caught the man responsible. According to the police, he had been trying to get back with his ex-wife. He had threatened to do something drastic if she refused to reconcile, and evidently he had followed through. Within a week, his ex-wife moved away. We never really knew her, so we
Got one. I want to come out here with at least like
didn't learn much more.
10 each or 20.
I regret
Because I don't want to
being
come
able
back here.
prevent the arson,
Because
but I was relieved that
in
he
the
was arrested.
pros, when you're out of that, that's fine.
When I was just a teenager,
Hey, how many
I made the
levels you
hasty
have?
decision
I
to
got
marry my
32.
boyfriend of 3 years. I'll call him Tom here. Tom turned out to be deeply disturbed. His fascination wasn't with anything normal.
Like the
He
XP.
was obsessed with blood, rituals, and notorious figures like Charles Manson. He'd often
16?
threaten me in a
Okay.
chilling tone, saying
Hell
things
yeah.
like, "If you ever think of leaving, the world will start missing redheads," implying he'd turn into a monster like Ted Bundy.
Hey, how about this? You want to stay here right quick? I'll look around and see if anything's good down there for me and you. Because you got iron armor, I got... Yeah. You got golden apples?
I needed a few days to pack my belongings, but each moment was filled with dread. Tom would lurk around, muttering, "If I can't have you, nobody
You got
can."
golden apples or no?
Or, "In another life, we could have another
I'll
chance."
give you one.
His
Because I got
words
two.
were like cold
I'm
whispers from the
going...
grave.
Let me see if there's
First
anything down
night was
here.
when I woke to his voice
Because we
whispering
need...
sinister
What's it called?
threats.
We need,
I barely opened my eyes,
We need,
fearing any moment might provoke him. There
What's that
he
shit
stood,
called?
over my
Soul
bed,
sand. Not the soul sand, but
holding a
the
large kitchen
other
knife,
shit.
tracing its tip along his arm while talking to
So I'm
himself
gonna get some right
in a
quick.
haunting
If
murmur.
any... Ooh, damn, it's had the
Fearing
blazers.
for my life, I faced him, our eyes
Shot them.
locked, and the room
Shot
fell
them.
silent.
The
He
garbage.
pleaded softly,
The miss.
"Please don't do this."
Do Colby shots over
He
here. Ooh,
paused, his
ha,
gaze
there
never
we go.
leaving mine, then slowly backed away to the doorway, still holding the knife.
Oh, crap.
He
There's
stood
a
there,
wizard
staring,
skeleton.
and I was paralyzed with fear,
I don't
not
like
knowing
you,
if these moments would be my last.
the guys. I definitely don't
After
like
what
y'all.
felt like an eternity, I turned and descended the stairs, disappearing into the darkness of our house. I lay there, wide awake, the terror of the night gripping me tightly.
There's barely nothing
I knew I
here.
had to escape this nightmare.
It's like a little fortress. I
With
think
each
that.
passing hour, the house seemed to close in on me, echoing with the dreadful possibilities of what Tom might do
Coming
next.
back right now.
When I was 23, I began renting my first apartment. Around that time, a girlfriend who I hadn't seen since high school
Hey, how many?
contacted me.
Oh, shit.
We had dated briefly back then, but it didn't end well because I married a bitch, flirting with another girl. Within 10 years at least, she told me she had moved past her teenage issues. I was open to trying again. We started seeing each other, and soon we were going regularly.
No, 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 no.
About a month into our renewed relationship, I was working a late shift when she
Ooh,
called me.
that was a close one, bro.
She sounded upset, saying she had argued with her mom and that the argument had escalated
That was a
to
close
the
one.
point where she was slapped. She wanted to come to my place to comfort me. When I got home later that night, I realized she wasn't just visiting. She had brought her things with her. Although I wasn't fully comfortable with it, I didn't mind too much since I could use some help with the rent. Living together was smooth for the first 2 months, but then everything changed. She began to express doubts about my interactions with other women.
Yeah.
So, her concerns extended to the activities or chores that she didn't approve of. My patience started wearing thin because I tend to
We got
like
9 so
things
far.
my way.
9.
We started arguing frequently,
Oh, shit.
sometimes all through the night. Her behavior became more alarming. She started to hurt herself and blame me for her, saying it was my fault.
Hey, drop the one you have
She got
right
a
now.
serious
Drop how many you have.
She would call me constantly when I was
I
at
got
work,
9.
demanding to
That's
know
10.
who I was
So
with.
we got 20 blaze
I was
rods,
working
but we
long
need
hours
a
at
couple
an
more.
ambulance service, and the stress began to build up. One night, things escalated terribly. She equated my watching movies to physical abuse and started yelling uncontrollably. She brought up her injuries and many doctor visits,
2 more, yep.
blaming
2
me
more.
for everything.
We need 2 more, yep. You got one.
After she
Hell yeah.
threatened to
There you
end
go.
her
There
life
you
with
go.
my
There you
gun,
go. There you go.
I had no choice but to call the
Come on.
police. She left before they arrived, tossing my loaded
Let's
gun
go.
into the yard
Okay, I'm gonna put it on peaceful.
I
Hold up.
thought that would be the end of it.
There we go.
But the
It's on
calm days
peaceful.
that followed were misleadingly peaceful. A few days later, she sent me a message claiming she needed to
It's
return
a
her
little. It's a
house.
little. It's like a little
I
one. It's
told her
not.
to
It's
simply
nothing too
throw it
big.
away, but she didn't
That's
listen.
what I think.
She drove
Because
to my
like,
apartment, left the key.
there's only
taped
two
a note
blaze
to my
spawner
door.
here, and it's.
The note claimed I was mentally ill, needed help, and a bunch of other
Oh,
accusations.
it go back. Oh,
She
dang.
said she forgave me for everything.
Oh, crap. This is
Couldn't even
a
finish
big
reading
boy,
it.
bro. It's a big boy.
After that, she kept texting, asking if I had read her note. She even blamed her actions on being pregnant, claiming she had lost the baby due to stress.
I'm behind you.
And it was mine. Years later, I'm now happily married with a wonderful 2-year-old named Hillian. I have no regrets about moving on from that terrifying period of my life. I hope she's doing better wherever she is, but I sincerely wish to never see her again. If you found this story chilling and have your
Oh,
own
this shit
scary
garbage.
experience to
Some to-dos show up.
Hey,
Unexpectedly.
does that look like a bastion over there, or I'm tripping?
Easier,
He got kind of muddy.
so you can get back to what it's all about.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
I think I'm tripping. I don't know if that look like a bastion or not.
Yeah, when the music starts, grab any chair. Doesn't matter if it's your outdoor style or not.
share, you're welcome to send it to me. I'm always looking to feature more real-life horror stories. Thank
Is
you
it?
to everyone
I don't
who
think it
supports
is.
me. Your support helps keep these stories coming. If you'd like to join our community and get access to special perks, visit my Patreon. Remember, if you have
No,
a story
okay,
you'd
here we
like to
go.
share, you can always reach out. Stay safe, everyone, and let's keep sharing these eerie tales.
Let's get out of here in one piece, broski. Cause we got a lot of noise.
This story begins when my mother started dating a man we'll call Jack. It was the summer I turned 15. The first time Jack met me and my brothers, he glanced at my mother and rejacked, "Wow, I didn't realize you had such a big family." Not the best first impression, you might think. At first, Jack seemed like a regular guy, but after he moved in with us, his true colors showed. He had a short temper and would often shout and stomp around like a little kid having a fit. He managed to charm my mom after every outburst, making her believe all was well. That's probably why she stayed with him longer than she should have. My mom can be a bit naive, which I guess made things easier for him. However, Jack found it hard to get along with me and my brothers. He would
Wait a
nitpick
minute.
everything we did, constantly claiming we were
do I
trying to
want
break
that?
him and my
Nah.
mom up.
You want that?
I have 4 brothers, and the 2 youngest ones and I were always up to mischief, according to him. We seemed to be his main problem. Gradually, he began forbidding us from hanging out with certain friends, and became much stricter with us than with our eldest brother. The day I knew he was really dangerous was when
That's
he
fine.
picked me up from school.
I got 33 levels.
While driving, he accused my younger brother and me of bad-mouthing him. I responded, "What? That's not true." But he dismissed my denial, claiming he had proof. When we arrived home, he showed us a recording device, then played a conversation between my brother and me that had taken place in our room.
I got the
I
course though.
recognized our voices and the privacy of our conversation. Shocked, I confronted him. "Why are you recording us in our room? What's wrong with you?" We argued fiercely, and I immediately called my mom to tell her, but she didn't confront him about it. She avoided taking sides, which frustrates me even now. After confronting Jack about the recordings in our rooms, I made him remove every single device, but the sense of safety in our own home had already been shattered. A year later, when I was 16, I started working at a local fast food restaurant. Jack did not like this one bit, especially because my friend from school, who he disliked, worked there too. He suspected I took the job just to hang out with my friend. In his usual controlling way, Jack decided to keep an eye on me by coming
Hey,
to
right
my
here
workplace.
is a shot.
He would sit in the corner and
Oh,
watch,
there we go.
not just once, but many times over a whole month. His presence was unnerving and made both my coworkers and me very uncomfortable.
I'm right here, bro. You gotta be careful.
Fed up with his
Woo!
behavior,
Hell yeah.
I decided it was time to leave. My father had recently moved back from
Uh,
abroad and offered me a place to stay.
It was this way or
I
this
packed
way?
my things and left without looking back. My dad was furious when I told him everything. He wanted to involve the police, but my mom, ever protective of Jack despite their rocky relationship, pleaded with my dad not to.
See what's up
Eventually,
here.
my mom and Jack split up over other issues, and I never saw him
Gee.
again. I hoped it would stay that way.
What happened? Cause of
Living with my dad gave me the peace I
Okay.
needed. but the shadows of my time with Jack lingered. Sometimes late at
You're
night,
the GOAT.
I would wake
You're
up
the
thinking
GOAT.
I heard his voice or the soft click
You're the
of a
GOAT,
rope.
man.
These
Ooh.
sounds seemed to
Hell
follow
yeah.
me,
Hey,
creeping
I
into
got
my
more,
dreams and
like,
turning
almost
them
damn near
into
like a full inventory,
nightmares.
because I got like, I'm trying to
Particularly
collect some
cold
quartz
night,
up here.
the sound of scratching at
It's
my
hella
window
quartz
woke
if you
me
need
up.
some up here. I see it,
At
hello.
first I thought it was just a tree branch,
I'm
but the sound was too deliberate, too rhythmic for that. Heart pounding, I peered through the curtains, half expecting to see Jack's glaring
Hey,
eyes.
on the floor next to you is
There
hella
was
quartz.
nothing,
By the piglins, you
just
go
the
straight a
empty
little bit.
street and the
Look at me,
faint
I'm
glow
up
of a
here.
streetlight.
Turn around.
The next day, I found small, deliberate scratches on the outside of my windowsill. They were new and looked like they were made by a human, not a tree branch. The fear that Jack might have found me started to grow inside me, turning each shadow into a hiding place for my fears. Despite Jack being out of our lives, the feeling of being watched never completely went away.
I'm right here.
My
Turn around.
brothers and I were on edge, constantly looking over our shoulders, wondering if the past would suddenly
You
appear
lagging,
in
bro?
front of us again. We could only hope that the basement's secrets and the shadows of our old home wouldn't follow us here. But deep down, I knew it was only a matter of time before something happened. Something that would drag us back into the nightmare we thought we had escaped. My name is Maria, and I am a mother to 2 kids and work as a police officer. This all started when I was just 18 years old. I was always a well-behaved girl, listening to my parents. My mother worked as a nurse, and my father was a police officer like me.
I think he is. I gotta check, I think. Is he yours? I guess we'll have to go back. Is he your friend or no?
I also had a younger brother named Sam. One day, I went to the cinema with my best friend Lucy and Sam to watch a horror movie called The Haunting. It was Sam's birthday. He was turning 10 that day and was a huge fan of spooky
Let me
stories.
see.
But after the movie, I couldn't shake off the feeling that someone in the dark corners
Yeah,
was
right,
watching
yeah.
us. That's when I bumped into
Hey,
my
you know which way
ex-boyfriend.
to get out of here?
We dated back in high school but broke up because he became too
I
controlling.
know you was
and mean.
following behind me. Do you
He
know
would
which
pick
way to
fights
go?
over tiny things and demanded too much from me. He controlled what I wore, what I said, and even expected his meals served exactly on time. It was suffocating.
This is not the way back. We're going farther.
I
I'm
was
trying to find
genuinely
the way
scared of
back.
him
Hold
after
up.
our breakup. Eventually, I gathered the courage and ended things with him. He didn't take it well.
I think it's
and
this
swore
way.
I would regret leaving him.
Oh, shit.
Hey, beautiful. Didn't expect to bump into you here, he said, trying to kiss my hand as he used to. I quickly pulled my hand back and told him firmly, "Why are you here? I don't want to see you. Oh, come on. Don't be like that. I've changed a lot since we split.
Yeah, this way.
I want to show you," he replied, reaching for my cheek. "Never.
I invited
You
him,
might
but
fool
he's
others,
not
but not
joining.
me. You're selfish and mean. I'm not falling for it again." I snapped back and walked away with Sam, who was upset by the tension. I hoped that would be the last I'd see of Michael, but it wasn't. After that day,
Use your
flowers started
use your
arriving
thing,
at
your
home.
bamboo.
My dad,
Yeah, there you
being
go.
a
Scaffold.
cop, was aware of my
There you
troubled
go.
history with Michael. Then it turned into letters, photos of me going to school, hanging out with Lucy, and even simple moments like making lunch for me and Sam. One photo stood out. It was an old picture of me and Michael when we first started dating. Seeing it made me sick to my stomach. My father decided to confront Michael at his house about the disturbing things he had been sending me. Michael admitted he still loved me. After hearing this, my father quickly got a restraining order against him. This brought me a little peace, but it was short-lived. One day while Sam was at his friend's house playing games, something strange happened. Sam came back looking scared and handed me a note.
Is that? Oh shit!
Where did this I can't say. He replied and dashed off.
I was about to walk off that shit, bro.
Inside was a photo of me with my new friend John. And on the back
Talk
it
about
read,
I'm the GOAT. I'm
"You belong to
fucking.
me."
I was about to do
I felt
a
so
new
sick
move.
that I threw up.
I was about to
I knew
lose
I had to
everything.
call my dad. That night, just as I was falling asleep, I heard the sound of a camera clicking. I grabbed a metal bat and swung it at the figure, hitting him in the face. The intruder was Mitch, a friend of Michael's. He told me Michael had threatened his family to force him to get a photo of me. convinced the court to give him just a month of house arrest because of his young age. But I decided it was up to me to end this. I took my dad's gun and went to confront Michael. He was sitting on his porch, smiling in a creepy way. My love, I knew you'd come back.
You coming?
He said. I kicked him hard and he fell. I could shoot you right now, I told him as the police arrived and handcuffed him. My father was there too, but in a desperate move, Michael pulled out a knife and wounded 2 officers before charging.
Oh,
him
be
and
careful.
screaming,
That was a
"If I
scary
can't
jump.
have you, no one will." I shot him in the leg and arm, stopping him. He was in pain and yelling. At his trial, I testified against him. He was sentenced to 30 years without parole. It felt like the terror had ended. For safety, we decided to move. Michael would be in prison for 30 years, but after that, he might try to find us. This time, we were determined to end the game on our terms. The final confrontation was inevitable. When I was about 8 years old, my sister, then 18, brought home a new boyfriend. My mom was worried because he was about 30 years old, but it really wasn't unusual for my sister to do something like this. At this point in her life, she was actually rapidly falling into a deep depression. At the time,
I'm trying to head back, bro. I don't know about you. It's this way.
option than not knowing where her mom was every night. Since
Oh,
doing
where you
drugs during
going?
one-night stands was a really common thing for her. The boyfriend was very kind to us, especially to me. He and my sister took me to many places. He bought me a pretty expensive gift, and my 8-year-old really liked it too. This will be relevant later. One time I went to his house to sleep, and of course my sister was with me. I would also like to say that I never got any kind of creepy vibe from him at all. As far as I remember, he never said anything strange or creepy. Fast forward to the day they broke up. It's too blurry to remember everything,
Oh, shit.
but I remember him showing up at my house, and my sister not letting him in.
Life's better when you're under our roof. Bundle your home and auto with American Family Insurance.
I'll be down there. Wait for me. You gonna leave me? I'm behind you. Hold on. Can you put scaffolding under me? I'm scared, bro. Okay, ready? If I die, bro. Woo! Oh my gosh, that's scary, bro. I don't like that.
We were really close with our
Don't like
neighbors.
that. That's my first time
My
doing
other
that.
sister,
I
who was
didn't know.
about 13 or 14,
Over lava? That's nutty.
but would occasionally approach my sister and ask if he had left.
Oh, we gotta
Now
go.
I was a very curious child and had no idea what was going on.
Good job.
My sister was very confused and very impatient with me.
Like I'm like a cat stuck in a tree and shit.
Following her around and
Gotta
asking her
go.
questions.
Which way we gotta go?
I remember looking out my mom's window while my sister tried to push my head
You
out of
remember
sight.
which way?
Her boyfriend yelled at her that he would be here and told her about the police. But I don't quite remember what it is. He left shortly afterwards.
This way.
Years later, this idea came back
Cowboys.
to me, and I finally asked my mom about it. What she said to me completely shocked me. Apparently, my sister found
Hello,
child
Cabo. This
pornography on
way.
his phone. I
Oh,
still get
I
goosebumps
know
thinking
where we're
about how
going.
kind he was to me
He's
and why
super
my sister
close.
tried to keep me out of sight that night. I
Damn.
know this isn't as scary as most of the stories you hear, but I still thought I'd share it. When I was only 17, I made the mistake of marrying a boy I thought I loved.
Damn, that's
We
crazy.
had been together since I was 14, so I believed I knew him well. But soon, things turned very dark and frightening. Let's call him Tom, instead of his real name.
Tom.
Tom had an unsettling fascination with dark and forbidden things. He often talked about blood and was oddly interested in evil people like Charles Manson. His obsession seemed deep and twisted.
Tom the
He
dad.
threatened me in chilling ways, hinting at terrible things he could do if I ever thought of leaving him. Watch the news for
Ah,
If you
shit.
ever try to leave, he'd warn with a twisted smile, implying he'd turn into someone like the notorious killer Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy.
But the day I decided to leave, the horror truly began. Tom did something horrifying. He cut his own arm.
You know, hey, you know
and
who
used
Jeffrey
his blood to
Dahmer
write
is?
my name all over our bedroom walls and bed
You know who
sheets.
Jeffrey Dahmer
It
is?
was a gruesome
Okay.
sight, one that left me in
Look up
shock.
Jeffrey Dahmer. He
Despite
used to
this,
kill.
I had to stay a few more days to
So
gather
he
my
used to
belongings,
kill women
terrified he
and
might do
girls.
something even
No,
worse
he
to
don't
me
only kill guys.
or himself.
He was a serial killer.
During those days, Tom would mutter
he killed a
chilling things.
14-year-old up
If I
to
can't
like
have
grown
you,
adults.
he'd say,
So like,
or in another
oh yeah, I
life,
know,
we'll
yeah.
be
I,
together
I live in
again.
I live in
His
Milwaukee.
words were cold and
Yeah,
menacing.
that shit nutty, bro.
One night, the air thick with
We got,
unease, I awoke to his
ooh, what
voice
the?
whispering,
He
"If I
just
can't
do the
have her, no one
suicide
can."
thing.
My
That
heart
pig
raced with fear. I barely dared to breathe, keeping my
this way.
eyes just slightly open to see what was happening without him noticing. Tom was standing by my bed, holding a large kitchen knife. He was running the tip along his arm, lost in his own twisted thoughts. I could hardly believe what was unfolding before my eyes. Using all the courage I had, I faced him and held my hands fully. Our gazes
boy.
locked, and for a moment everything stood still. "Please don't do this," I whispered.
Come on. Where?
He paused, the menacing look in his eyes shifting slightly. Then, slowly, he walked toward the door of my room. He lingered there, his silhouette framed by the doorway, still clutching the knife. The tension was unbearable. I didn't know if he would leave or come back to hurt me. After what felt like an eternity, he finally turned and walked down the stairs, leaving me alone in the dim light of the room. I lay there, unable to sleep,
Alright, go this way.
wondering if I would survive the night. This story begins about 5 years ago when I was 25. At that time, I was already married and a father to 2 wonderful children. Let me tell you, I am a man. Here's my tale. I had a girlfriend before I got married, who for the sake of this story, I'll call Mia. Every time I tried to end things with Mia, explaining that it might be good for us to date other people, or even suggesting
Yeah,
that
she
we
sounds
both have
crazy.
some space,
She sounds crazy,
she
my
would
guy.
lose control. She'd threaten to harm herself, or even drive her car into a lake, even though we don't have any lakes nearby.
Jesus.
One day while I was shopping, I bumped into an old flame, Jane. We had split amicably, so our conversation flowed easily. I can...
Wait, what's it? Can't be over here.
confided in Jane about my
It
troubles
should be
with
this
Mia
way.
and how I feared for her safety. Jane suggested that if I was truly worried, I should inform someone from Mia's family.
Oh,
On a workday, over
yeah.
my lunch break, I phoned Mia. I suggested we meet for dinner to talk things through. Before dinner, I rushed home, collected all my belongings and my dogs, and moved everything back to my parents' house. I know, it seems harsh, but Mia had become truly unstable. At dinner, in a public place to avoid any outbursts, I firmly
another
told her
photo
we
right there.
should break up because I was unhappy. This was nothing new. We had been together for 3 years, and I had felt disconnected for a long time. After the breakup, I returned to my parents' home. They were not pleased because they were worried Mia might retaliate in a destructive way. They suggested staying with another family member, but realistically, who would accommodate me, my 2 large dogs, and all this drama? That evening, while discussing everything with my father in our living room, we were startled by the sound of my truck alarm and breaking glass. My heart dropped. I had a strong feeling it was Mia. Trying to remain calm, I went outside to talk to her. But as I approached, she lashed out, hitting me and screaming insults. Despite her aggression, I did not retaliate or even raise my voice. I tried to calm her down while reassuring my father that I could handle the situation. He reluctantly went back inside. The ordeal lasted about half an hour before she finally drove away, leaving our neighborhood in a rush.
I think we don't have to go there for a while. We shouldn't have to go there for a
They
while.
questioned my whereabouts on the night of the incident and other details. I cooperated fully, but they seemed skeptical of my story. They informed me that Mia had accused me of assault.
We got
and even
6
claimed
ender
I had
pearls.
threatened her
That's
at
6
gunpoint to steal
underarms.
from her safe and demanded her bank card pins. For a moment, I was too shocked to speak.
I already got one.
When I regained my composure, I showed the officers my bruises and explained, "Look at me. I'm the one who's hurt. She did this to me." "I did not hurt her," I told the police firmly. The reply was short. "Sir, she is a woman, and we must listen to her story as well. We need some DNA samples from you." I complied, providing what they asked for, but despite my cooperation, I found myself locked up, awaiting a trial. 2 weeks passed slowly, and then the DNA results came back. Of course, they were negative. I had done nothing wrong. I haven't mentioned yet, but during this time, I reconnected with Jane. Despite everything, we started seeing each other again. However, the troubles didn't stop. Mia seemed determined to make moving on impossible for me. For nearly a year, police officers would show up at my door, accusing me of stalking her. Mia even paid a private detective to track me and Jane. Every time the police came, I had proof of where I was, contradicting Mia's claims. She managed to get 4 restraining orders against me, even though I had stayed away from her entirely. Eventually, the judge grew tired of the constant accusations. It became clear to him how unreasonable Mia was, as he stopped granting further restraining orders. Jane and I nearly broke apart under the strain of these accusations. Mia turned my life into a nightmare, but I'm relieved I ended things with her. So, Mia, wherever you are now, I truly hope you get the help you need. And I pray that no other man has to endure what I went through.
For real.
I was about 18 or 19 years old when this all started. I didn't know much about life yet, but I was about to learn something terrifying. My dad owned a few small shops in town, and he was involved with his business partner, Jane. She was a strange lady, always trying to get close to me, which made me uncomfortable. At first, she would buy meals
I
for
got
us,
food. I'm good
and
on
I was
food.
thankful. But soon,
That's steak.
she wanted to spend time alone with me more often, which made me uneasy. Despite all this, my dad secretly married someone else and didn't tell Jane. When she found out, she was furious. She told me in a scary voice that my dad would regret this. She even showed up at my workplace demanding to see him. When I said he wasn't there, she screamed at me and left, but not before saying we would regret crossing her. I was so shaken that I called the police, but they didn't do much
If you want to feed
other
the
than take
cows,
my
you
name.
can.
They didn't seem to understand how scary she was. Fast forward a few weeks, I was coming home late at night after a long shift at my second job. I was exhausted from work and school, barely managing to drag myself to bed. I remember the clock showing midnight as I fell asleep. Suddenly, at around 3 in the morning, I heard my bedroom door creak open. Half asleep, I thought it was my cat, Shadow, wanting to cuddle. I called out to him, but there was no response. I didn't worry much at first, too tired to think straight. But then I felt someone standing near my bed watching me. A chill ran down my spine. I opened my eyes and saw Jane, standing there with wild, angry eyes. She was yelling about getting back at my dad, her voice filled with rage and madness. In a panic, I rolled out of bed and sprinted past her, locking myself in the bathroom to call for help. Meanwhile, she had gone crazy, attacking my dad's new wife, and even trying to stab my dad when he tried to calm her down. The police arrived soon after and arrested her right there. It was the most terrifying night of my life. Now I always keep a knife and a taser close by when I sleep.
What?
You can never be too careful. Be safe. You never know who's going to show up at your door.
Oh, my bad, bro. My diamond boots, I got protection 4, dash out of 3, and breaking 3. That's garbage. I need a good sword. Breaking 3. That's garbage. Yeah, go ahead. I got almost 30 levels. I got 29. Ooh, and hey. If you got a diamond pickaxe right now, is on it right here. Is right now is a silk touch. If you got a diamond pick, you use a silk touch. Right. So like if you got one, that's what I'll use for another.
Get hydrated.
Another pick.
Healthier skin with Pureology Future-Proof Bar X. With clinically proven ingredients like tretinoin, personalized to smooth skin texture and fine lines. Take the quiz to find your future-proof Bar X formula.
Is it time to upgrade your appliances? With over 80 years in the community, Colders has exactly what you need. You can save up to 65% on our wide selection of high-quality products when you shop today. From refrigerator...
Got fortune tool.
For over a month, I had been searching on the dating site I joined, trying to find a good match. I was careful not to share my full name or where I lived, especially because I was a woman living alone. On my profile, I mentioned that I enjoyed social activities like dining out, watching movies, and outdoor sports like hiking, running, and swimming. I also shared that I was 5'8" with shoulder-length blonde hair and in my mid-30s. Unlike many men who often posted pictures from when they were younger, I chose not to add a photo of myself. It was a Thursday evening after a long day at my office job at a large insurance company in downtown Chicago. Despite working in a bustling office, I hadn't met any promising men there. The few I dated were disappointments. So I turned to online dating in hopes of finding better prospects. That night, I reviewed profiles of 7 potential matches from the dating site. After looking over their details
Hey, can we go to bed right quick, bro?
only one seemed promising. A 30-year-old man named Lucas. He was 6 tall, or so he claimed, and liked sports and the outdoors, much like myself. We spent the next few nights exchanging messages through the dating site. Lucas seemed nice and appeared handsome, based on his picture. After some thought, we decided to meet at Benny's, a local food and wine bar, on Saturday night at 8 p.m. We planned to wear a red carnation so we could easily spot each other. The one who arrived first would grab a table and wait. By Saturday afternoon, I was already nervous about the date. I worried about what to wear, whether to wear my hair up or down, and other typical pre-date concerns. I stopped by the florist to buy a bunch of red carnations, picking the best one to pin on my new dress. I arrived at Benny's at 7:30 p.m., a little early, and secured a table. I ordered a martini on the rocks and settled in to wait. The bar was filled with various groups, couples, large gatherings of men, and tables of women enjoying their evening. My watch showed 8:20 p.m., but there was still no sign of Lucas or anyone with a red carnation. Great, I muttered under my breath, feeling both upset and a little insulted.
I got this idea to build, like,
if he didn't like what he saw, he could have made up an excuse and left.
Over it first.
I decided to give it another 10 minutes, until 8:30 p.m., then I'd leave. I walked to the bar and back to my table, scanning the crowd for anyone wearing a red carnation like me, hoping that perhaps he hadn't noticed me in the now crowded place. But no one matched the description of Lucas, the man from the profile. Was I tricked badly, or had he simply not shown up? By 8:30 p.m., I felt certain he wasn't coming. I grabbed my coat and left the bar.
Where you at, bro?
The walk home would take about 15 minutes.
This is...
The streets
I
were
don't know if you
brightly
saw
lit,
this or
and there were
not.
plenty of people around, which made me feel a bit safer. Yet, as I walked, a creeping sensation of being followed washed over me. I stopped a few times to look around casually.
It's like a little organized chest area right here.
Pausing again near a shop
a
window,
lot of wool.
I finally saw him. A man in a long dark coat holding a black and silver cane. He looked away quickly when I caught sight of him. As I resumed walking, so did he. My heart started to race and I quickened my pace. This part of the street was quieter and less residential. I crossed the street to test if he was truly following me, and he crossed too. I turned left onto my street, and my heart sank. The street lamps near my building were out, leaving the sidewalk in darkness, except for some faint lights from the houses across the street. Panic set in. I sprinted toward my building, rushed up the stairs, and yanked the communal door open. I darted into the elevator and pressed the button for the 4th floor. Just as the elevator doors began to close, a cane suddenly shot out, blocking them. The doors reopened, and I was frozen with fear. The large figure of the man in the dark coat stepped into the elevator, holding a knife in his other hand. In that terrifying moment, I realized the man's face was hidden under a balaclava. I screamed without stopping, frozen in fear as he just stood there. Suddenly, another person burst into the elevator, wearing a suit and sporting a red rose on his lapel. He grabbed the attacker by the neck and yelled, "Drop the knife!" He then used a taser at the assailant, who collapsed right there in the elevator, with me standing just feet away. The man in the suit quickly disarmed the attacker and handcuffed him. Breathing heavily, he turned to me and introduced himself as Lucas, the man I was supposed to meet for our date. He apologized for his lateness, and explained that after he spotted my red carnation as he was leaving the bar, he noticed a man behaving suspiciously and following me. Lucas, as it turned out, was a Chicago police officer. Right person, right place, right time. The creep was wanted for several attacks on women over the past 6 months. Lucas and I eventually went on our intended date. Despite the horrifying start, we connected well and began seeing each other regularly. The fear from that night lingered. Paramedics had to be called as I couldn't stop shaking from the shock. The rush of adrenaline was so intense, I felt as though I might die from the panic alone. incident, Lucas stayed with me, comforting me until another police unit arrived to take the assailant away in a squad car. The man was later charged and found guilty on multiple counts. Reflecting on that night, the reality hit hard. My date was a police officer who, although late, ended up saving my life. His tardiness seemed insignificant compared to his actions that night. I sat at the table, feeling uneasy. My hands trembled slightly. It was my first date in quite some time. Let me skip ahead a few weeks. I had started chatting with a man named Mark on a lesser-known dating app. This app wasn't very popular, only about 100,000 downloads. And I'm not sure why I chose it over more popular ones like Tinder. I guess I found comfort in the smaller user base. It felt quieter, less overwhelming. Even an average-looking woman can get bombarded with messages on the big apps. And I preferred fewer but possibly more meaningful interactions. Mark and I hit it off and decided to meet for dinner at a local Chinese restaurant in the city center. It was to be our first face-to-face meeting, though we had exchanged photos. I don't recall the name of the app, but it required users to upload at least 3 pictures and a brief bio. You also had to list your physical details, height, weight, and so on. Some details were optional, but Mark had filled out everything. He was about 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighed around 200 pounds, and had a muscular build. He also had dark spiked hair, a bit of stubble instead of a full beard, and strikingly white teeth, almost unnaturally so. I arrived at the restaurant about 5 minutes early. Luckily, Mark had called the day before to reserve a table for 2. As I was escorted to our table, nerves kicked in. I always wondered what was more awkward, arriving first and sitting alone, or walking in to find your date already waiting and watching. That night, I wore heels. I'm a bit clumsy, especially when I'm nervous, so it was probably for the best that I was the first to arrive. I settled into my seat, and the waitress offered me a drink. I declined, preferring to wait for Mark. It felt polite to do so. She then handed me the menus for drinks and food, asking me to start thinking about what I might like to order. I took the menus from her and began to look through them, trying to distract myself from my growing anxiety. I had been to Chinese restaurants before. It wasn't something extraordinary for me. The real purpose of being there was the date, to meet this man named Eric. Minutes ticked by, and Eric was nowhere in sight. It was past 7 o'clock, the time we agreed to meet. I figured it wasn't a huge issue. Maybe he was caught in traffic or lost his way. I was prepared to wait even if he was 20 minutes late. He could have called. After all, he had my number. Eventually, he arrived 10 minutes late. I pretended to scrutinize the menu, though I had already chosen what I wanted. When Eric entered, I noticed he wasn't the 5'10" he claimed to be. He looked about my height, 5'6". This was a bit disappointing, but I knew it was common for men to add a few inches to their height online. I decided not to let this initial lie ruin our evening. As he approached, I stood up, greeted him with a hug and a peck on the cheek. The greeting was awkward, and he seemed to lack confidence. He was handsome, with sharp facial features and a neat stubble. Thankfully, his photos had been accurate. But there was a tension from the start, something unsettling about Eric's demeanor. As we sat down, his legs shook uncontrollably, like someone with restless leg syndrome. This was quite distracting, but I assumed he was just nervous about the date. The conversation stumbled along with awkward pauses. He asked typical questions. Was I studying or working? Just as the silence grew too heavy, the waitress came over and we ordered drinks and starters. The restaurant had filled up by now. It was around 7:20, and the noise level had increased significantly. Everyone seemed to have made reservations, and we had to speak louder to hear each other. The starters were delicious, and we proceeded to order our main courses. As we ate, Eric became increasingly jittery. His knee bounced so vigorously it knocked the underside of the table, causing our glasses and bowls to rattle. He avoided eye contact, glancing away whenever I tried to look him in the eyes, never holding my gaze for more than a moment. This was shaping up to be one of the most uncomfortable dates I'd ever been on. But it wasn't over yet. The restaurant was now buzzing with activity. Every table was occupied. Midway through the meal, I decided to visit the restroom. I informed Eric, and he merely hummed in response. In the restroom, I took a moment to check my appearance in the mirror and use the facilities, as one typically does.
Zombie.
When I
Go to
returned
bed.
from the restroom, something very odd happened. As I approached our table, Eric was there, still focused on his meal. I sat down, and suddenly, a woman from a nearby table rushed towards us. She grabbed my drink abruptly and demanded I stand up. "You need to come with me now, outside," she said sternly. Confused, I glanced at Eric, wondering what was happening. He didn't look up or acknowledge the
Hey,
situation.
let's go to bed, bro.
Just kept his eyes on his food. I followed the woman outside. She was about my height, with gray hair, and appeared to be in her mid to late 50s. She took my wine glass with her, opened the restaurant door, and led me outside. After making sure the door had closed behind us, she urgently told me to leave and never return. She revealed that while I was in the restroom, Eric had spiked my drink. She had seen him drop something into it, causing it to fizz and dissolve. "Go down the street, and don't look back," she instructed. As we peered back into the restaurant, we saw Eric slowly standing, looking towards the door. The woman quickly dumped the wine into a flower container outside, and urged me to hide in the store next to the restaurant. She said she would confront Eric to buy me some time, and told me to call the police immediately. I rushed into the nearby convenience store, which was something like a 7-Eleven. I explained to the clerk that someone had attempted to drug me and might be following me. He quickly led me to the back rooms of the store and instructed me to dial 911 from their landline. I hid there until the police arrived. According to the woman who had held me, she told Eric
Fucking
that I had
creepers,
left,
yeah.
and he simply walked away. When the police arrived, they couldn't find him. Even though city cameras captured some footage of him, they couldn't track down his address or real name.
Wow.
Was unable to locate his
Wow,
GPS or IP
bro.
address, so he was
Fucking
never
wow, bro.
I never learned the name of the woman who saved me that night. She was a true guardian angel, and without her
Bro, how the
intervention,
fuck that shit just happened, bro? I think, bro.
this terrifying experience has
Bro.
completely turned me off from dating. It was a shocking and traumatic ordeal that could have ended much worse.
I lost my
The strange
diamond sword.
clerk and the mysterious woman were instrumental in saving me
No, I
from
got
a
it. There you go.
potentially deadly situation.
I got it. Anyway. But I said I'm about to lose my fucking shit, bro. That's the thing, when I hit him twice, my game just lagged so fucking hard. Like my shit just lagged. I'm like, fuck, bro.
NutriBullet Ultra.
I'm Nora. I ditched the 9 to 5 in order to thrive, using Bluehost for my vintage online store. With Bluehost's AI-powered site creation and shipping tools, I made a custom WordPress website in minutes. Build with confidence at Bluehost.com.
Back in 2017, when I was 19 years old, I found myself on a first date with a boy I had met at a local bowling center. At that time, I was always looking for reasons to get out of my house. My parents argued a lot, which made home a pretty awful place to be. The constant stress and shouting created a really bad environment for someone my age. So I tried to stay away as much as possible. I'd hang out with friends, go to sleepovers from Friday to Monday, or even stay at hotels. Going on dates was another excuse for me not to sleep at home. Things were really tough. On one of those dates, I met this guy. After we met at the bowling center, we started talking and exchanged phone numbers. We agreed to meet up, just the two of us. For our date, we didn't plan anything fancy. Since we were both too young to go to bars, we thought it would be fun to go to Walmart, buy some snacks and food, and then head to the nearby park. I had only met this guy once before, but he seemed pretty cool and didn't give me any reason to suspect anything bad. I usually have a good sense of people's character. Because of the constant tension at home, I had learned to read my parents' emotions very well. I knew when my dad was angry and likely to lose his temper, and I could tell when my mom was stressed or frightened. This helped me understand other people's behavior quickly, and I could usually tell who was genuine and who wasn't. This guy gave off a genuine vibe, which is why what happened next on our date wasn't really about him. After our trip to Walmart, we drove his truck to the park. The park had a skate park area with a big curved bowl structure used by skateboarders. I never learned the official name for these things since I was never into skating. We sat near the structure in the darkness. The park was empty, silent, and pitch black, making it a bit eerie. I was eating a pack of Cheetos, not really caring about my breath around him. It's funny to think about that now. I believe he was drinking some soda, although my memory might be a bit fuzzy. But I remember the sound of him popping open a can. As we sat there, the night around us was eerily quiet. There was a slight breeze that was cool, but not too cold, which felt kind of nice. I remember wearing a jacket, jeans, and some comfortable shoes. We were both just sitting there, legs hanging off the edge of the skate bowl, eating our snacks, when suddenly we heard rustling noises coming from the bushes and trees just behind us. At first, it was just a slight noise, like something moving stealthily through the leaves. I glanced over at Tom, who was sitting on my right. He stopped mid-sip from his soda can and set it down between us. He turned his head slowly towards the noise, trying to peer through the darkness to see what was there. For a couple of seconds, the noise stopped. Then, very clearly, we heard what sounded like something, or someone, climbing out of the bushes. The sound was heavy, like the thud of a large animal, or worse, a person. Tom looked at me, his eyes wide. By this time, I had stopped munching on my Cheetos. My jaw was tight with fear.
Shit, you never
It's
know.
probably
Shit,
just a
she
cat.
might be. You know, she
Tom
might be a
tried to reassure
stepmom.
me, his voice uncertain. Or maybe a dog? But the suggestion seemed unconvincing given the heaviness of the sounds. It was almost midnight, and we had no light with us. Our eyes had somewhat adjusted to the darkness, aided only by the nearly full moon which illuminated the open space around us, but not the dense bushes behind us. Whatever was there, it stayed hidden in the shadows, making it impossible to see clearly. We sat in silence for a few more minutes, neither of us daring to resume eating. The relaxed mood of our date had completely changed. We felt tense, as if we were being watched, or as if someone was creeping up on us. Suddenly, the rustling started again, but this time it was louder and more distinct. Tom swore he saw something move quickly from one bush to another. He gasped a little when he saw it, and I could tell he was scared. "Did you see that?" he whispered to me, his voice shaky. "Something's definitely there." The atmosphere was thick with tension, and every sound seemed amplified in the silence of the park. We sat there, not moving, barely breathing, straining our ears for any hint of movement. The sense of dread grew with each passing minute, as we realized that this was no ordinary interruption on a night out. Something unsettling was lurking close by, hidden in the darkness just beyond our sight. Tom quickly stood up, grabbed his half-full soda can, and threw it into the bushes, hoping to scare off whatever was hiding there. But there was no reaction. No sound of an animal running away. Nothing. That's when I suggested we should probably leave. We quickly packed up our snacks, which were scattered all around us, stuffed them into his bag, and headed back to his truck. The parking lot was just a short walk from the skate bowl, maybe about 10 steps or so. As we reached his truck and were putting the snack bag in the trunk, I glanced towards the bushes. Standing there was a figure dressed in a clown outfit, holding what appeared to be a 20-inch machete. The blade shimmered under the moonlight, and it looked like it was covered in blood. Tom let out a loud scream, the loudest I'd ever heard from anyone. It was a scream full of terror, as if he was genuinely fearing for his life. He frantically scrambled for his keys to unlock the driver's side door. Meanwhile, I was panicking too, my whole body shaking uncontrollably. I could barely stand as fear gripped me. Tom's truck was an old model, probably from the 90s, and it didn't have automatic locks. He struggled to fit the key into the lock because he was shaking so much. I crouched behind the truck, peering occasionally at the clown, who remained eerily still, just staring at us. It never crossed my mind that this could be a prank. It wasn't Halloween or April Fool's Day, and there were no cameras in sight. This felt all too real. Finally, Tom managed to unlock the door. He swung it open, reached into the glove compartment, and pulled out a handgun. In seconds, he began firing towards the clown. The clown quickly ducked back into the bushes. After firing a few rounds, Tom stopped shooting, threw the gun back into the glove box, and shouted at me to get into the truck. I jumped into the passenger seat, and we slammed the door shut. Tom hit the gas, and we sped away from the park. We drove without stopping, running through every stop sign.
Hey, you got any
We drove like
scaffolding
that
on
for
you?
about 20 minutes.
Can I get a
know it
couple?
wasn't right,
If you got
but
any?
we were too scared to slow down.
Okay.
We felt like our lives were in real danger. I don't know what that clown was planning to do, or what he was thinking, but that night remains the most terrifying experience of my life. It happened to be on one of my first dates, and surprisingly, the guy I was with might have actually saved my life.
Okay, I will.
Feel protected under our roof, so you can enjoy your dreams. American Family Insurance.
4 months ago, I moved to Ohio to start a new job in Columbus. I managed to find an apartment only 15 minutes away from work. This was great because it meant I didn't have to travel too far every day. Back in my old job, I had to commute for an hour each way, which really cut into my sleep time. A few months after settling into my new job, I started thinking about dating.
Before you go in there,
I
wait,
noticed
hold
a
on,
few
wait.
interesting women at
I'm
work.
putting on peaceful.
Sadly, when I tried to
Put on
ask one
peaceful
out,
for you,
it
because it's
turned out she wasn't
kind of
interested
dangerous.
in men and was actually dating another woman
Right,
from
you
the
can go now.
finance department. That was
Oh,
unexpected.
hey, can you
I
come
thought
over
to
here real quick
myself.
before you go? I'm gonna give you a
The next woman I
scaffolding
approached
back.
was very outgoing and always nice to
I
me.
just need.
But when I invited her for a drink, she kindly declined, saying she was married with kids, and her husband wouldn't appreciate it. My last try was with a friendly receptionist who always laughed at my jokes. I thought I had a chance there, but when I asked her out, she also said no. My confidence was pretty shaken after striking out 3 times. So, for the following weeks, I just focused on my work and kept to myself. One Friday evening after work, I grabbed some takeout, opened a can of beer, and turned on the TV. The first thing I saw was an ad for a dating website promising to find the perfect match for a small fee. I decided to try my luck and signed up for 3 different dating sites, hoping to increase my chances of finding someone. I tried
Hey,
to make
before
my
you go,
profile as
before you
interesting
go
as
up there,
possible,
come over here.
hoping to attract the right kind of match.
Okay, so what you think
But I
about
soon
this?
found
Right here,
out
like
that
it's gonna
online
be a
dating
mine.
wasn't
It's
as
like a mine.
straightforward as
It's
it
like a mine.
seemed.
I'm
Many
almost done
people
with it.
didn't really match their
It's just the
profiles.
outside, the looks
Some
of
were
it.
completely different, just like catfish. Finally, I
Just
got
come
a
up here right
promising
quick.
match. We
Alright,
chatted by
that's
email
just
and
for
agreed to meet
looks.
the next week at a downtown bar at 8
It
p.m.
goes to diamond level,
We would
but
both bring a book
you
so
come
we
up
could
here.
recognize each other.
Over
I
here,
arrived 10
I'm
minutes
making
early and
like
found a
a
quiet
little,
table. Right at 8
like a
p.m.,
little.
a tall, pretty
I'm gonna
woman
put a
with
table
book
right
walked
here,
in and headed to
and we're
the
gonna talk
bar.
about business.
This was our
You know,
sign to recognize each other.
that's why
Holding
I'm making it
books.
right now.
She looked
Oh,
around,
come over here! Look at
saw me, and walked
oh, he
over.
got. I wish I
"You
got
must be
emeralds.
Mike," she said,
Shit.
checking if I was the person she was supposed to meet.
He have.
"Yeah, but please call me Mikey,"
He
I
got
responded,
bones.
smiling back. She introduced herself then.
You could tame.
"I'm Sally on the
Cool.
internet, but my real name is Samantha." She sat down and I got us drinks. She seemed nice and quite self-assured. I asked if my height was an issue since she was quite tall. She laughed it off, saying it was the person that mattered, not their height. Relieved, I felt better, as I'm about average height for a man. She suddenly grabbed my book from the table. "Let's stash these away. We don't want people thinking we're librarians," she joked. Just
Yeah,
then,
but like there's
another
gonna be
woman
like a
walked into the
little
bar, also holding a
get
book,
together
and
room.
went
Everybody
straight to
get
the bar.
everybody get on the server.
"That's
We talk
odd.
about
She's
business.
also tall and has bright red
Talk
hair.
about the little town.
What a coincidence," I thought to
I
myself.
might put it back a little
Samantha
bit more. It's
noticed my
kind of tight.
distraction and suggested, "Shall we go somewhere a bit quieter?"
Do that.
I agreed, and we left the bar, her leading the way. I didn't mind following. She was quite captivating.
Yeah,
Samantha
I've tried
led the
inviting
way.
him. He didn't
I
join.
noticed how she kept glancing back, as if making sure the red-haired girl at the bar wasn't following us. Trying to lighten the mood, I asked, "Is she a friend of yours?" Samantha turned to me, her expression suddenly serious, and said flatly, "No." Then she walked out the door and I hurried after her. Outside, she pointed to a dark sedan parked across the street. "That's my car over there."
2, 3,
"You brought your
4,
car, right?"
5.
she asked. "Yes," I replied. "Good. Follow me." And with that, she was off. As I followed her, I realized she hadn't mentioned which bar we were going to next. We drove for what seemed like half an hour, leaving Columbus and heading towards a small town called Newark. Suddenly, she veered off onto a barely lit side road. The area became increasingly secluded, and I couldn't help thinking this was getting weird. Hopefully this bar is worth the drive, I thought to myself. Her car's brake lights glowed red as she turned left onto a rough, bumpy track. We continued for about 5 minutes until I saw a light ahead through the trees. Her car turned into a driveway leading to a large old house, hidden by shadows. Instead of stopping at the front, she drove around to the side where 2 large barns stood under dim lights, barely lighting the area. I parked next to her, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. As she got out of her car, she flashed a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I thought we were heading to a bar in town.
You invite her.
I said, confused. She chuckled.
You can.
I thought about it, but then I decided to bring you here instead. You should feel special. Come on. I locked my car and followed her across the yard toward the house, passing by several old cars parked near the
Hey, would
bars.
you still be on or no?
Having a party or something? I joked, looking at the cars. No, she replied. No party. These cars are just old family keepsakes. I'm not ready to let them go. Her voice was oddly sentimental.
Just hit my savings goal.
Back in my day, we kept our money in the mattress. Free light is better.
A strong, unpleasant smell hit me and I grimaced. Is there a farm nearby? Smells like animals. No farm, she said. But we do keep some pigs out back. The smell gets strong when the wind shifts. Sorry about that.
That look kind of cool. Look at that. You see that?
At the back door, she
Like
paused and
I
looked at
like
me
how these
curiously.
bases are. Like these bases
You
going.
don't have any pet allergies, do you? No, why?
I'm like I'm right
I
here.
asked,
Like I could
starting
see
to
like the
feel
second
uneasy.
floor. Like
That's good. I have a few cats. She opened the door, and as the light spilled out,
hey,
she
I'm gonna
called
go
into the house.
fuck. I want to go AFK, but I don't want to get off the game. But I don't want nobody to
Immediately, 3
join.
cats darted into the kitchen, meowing loudly, followed by 5
Cause I gotta go
more,
do
all
some stuff in real
clamoring for
life.
her
I don't want.
attention. My initial thought was, oh no, she's one of those cat people.
Let me see
She sat down, and
settings.
the cats all tried to climb onto her lap. I stood there
Members.
watching the chaotic affection of the cats, thinking, definitely a cat lady. She stood up and smiled at me again. Now you see why I asked about allergies. Can I get you something to drink?
Like, can you still
Yeah.
brick stuff, bro?
A beer would be
Cause I
great.
put it on visitor,
I
not for
replied,
you, but the other
trying to
people.
sound relaxed. Great. I'll show you to the lounge first, she said, leading me through to a large room decorated with more cat paraphernalia and a huge fireplace.
You good?
The atmosphere was cozy, yet something felt off. As she went to get the drinks, I couldn't shake the feeling that tonight might unfold into something beyond the ordinary. Samantha watched as I struggled to stand, her smile never fading. The bathroom is just down the hallway. First door on your left, she said, pointing casually. I tried to get up, but my legs felt like they were made of rubber. I collapsed back into the chair, feeling a wave of weakness wash over me. Samantha's eyes sparkled a bit too brightly as she watched me struggle. What's happening to me? I muttered, trying to grip the arms of the chair. Samantha tilted her head, her smile growing wider.
Hey, I'm gonna go AFK, okay,
Danny,
bro?
how are you feeling? Her voice was soft, but carried a chilling undertone that made me shiver.
I put, what's it called? If anybody join, I just put it on visitor,
My arms and
so
legs
people
wouldn't
could join,
listen
they
to
could
me.
see.
It was like they
But
weren't
like,
mine anymore.
I gotta go AFK.
I don't
Hey,
know
if I'm not back,
much to say. My arm was weak.
I got
Samantha
9
stood up
diamonds
smoothly and walked
only.
over to the side
I
table
don't know
with the
how
keys
many
laid scattered.
stacks or
She
oak
picked
logs
up a
can you give me
keychain,
with that?
twirling it
If
between
you
her
want to do
fingers.
that for me, if
Sometimes we meet people who seem
I don't know if
perfect
you
at
would do
first.
that. I'll pay you
She
9
began,
diamonds.
her voice now eerily
Okay,
calm.
thank you, bro.
But not
But I'll be
everyone
back. I
turns
gotta go
out
do
to
some
be
stuff,
who we
okay?
expect.
I'm back. My bad, bro. I'm sorry. Apologize. Give me a second, sir. What happened? Yep. That up the game? Okay, that's fine. We still got stuff in there, so that's fine.
What's that thing over there?
That's Little Robot. It eats my cat's food.
A robot?
Yeah, it's Little
Hey,
Robot.
you wanna,
So my mom can scoop.
I'm gonna go mining soon.
After my cat uses it, Little Robot eats the clumps which stay in its belly until the app.
Nah.
That thing has an app.
Last time I did that, my shit got griefed. And I'm good. I don't wanna even think about that.
People who think they can just come into my life and then leave whenever they want. I struggled to comprehend her words, feeling the room spin around.
See, he joins, but like, I don't know, like, he never joined the party.
I asked, my speech heavy and slow. Just a little something to help you relax, she replied, her voice now a whisper as she leaned closer. You looked so tense, so worried. I want you to enjoy your time here with me.
He don't got a mic. He don't join the party. Like, if you join the party, I understand. You know, I gave you more, you know. But like, he's not going to the party. Nothing.
Placed the keychain back on the table and picked up one of the many cat figurines. You know, Danny, each one of these represents someone special who came to visit. You'll be staying a bit longer than you planned, she said softly.
I don't know.
Almost tenderly. I wanted to scream.
You know him?
To run, but all I could do was sit there, trapped in my own body, as Samantha continued to talk about her collection. The cats around us seemed to sense the change in the air, their eyes fixed on me with a newfound intensity. As the reality of my situation set in,
Nah, I'm not giving you a number, no.
Ordinary date, and Samantha was no ordinary woman. I was caught in a horror that I had not anticipated, far from any help.
What do
in
you
the
want?
hands of a woman who saw me not as a guest, but as an addition to her chilling collection. I was sure something terrible was happening to me. I begged her to call for help. No, she said calmly. That's not necessary. It's just the drug I put in your drink. It makes it hard for you to move your arms and legs, but you can still breathe. I couldn't even properly panic. She admitted everything right in front of me, smiling. Men who use these dating sites are often predators, just looking for one thing, not true love. I've had a terrible experience before, and now I protect other women who might be hurt by men like them. My heart raced with fear. She was planning to kill me. I tried to yell for help. Help! Someone call the police! But my voice was just a faint whisper. Susan chuckled. The drug also affects your vocal cords? Quite effective, isn't it? She left the room and returned with a large wheelbarrow. Opening the patio doors, she came over to me and said, Time to go, Danny. She lifted me effortlessly, placed me in the wheelbarrow, and wheeled me outside. We're off to see the pigs, she sang. They always enjoy fresh meat. I tried to scream again, but
I'm gonna go shit mining for a while.
I couldn't move at all. I was completely
So I could get
Suddenly, a bright light shone directly
some more
in my
resource,
face.
whatever,
Susan looked
and
shocked
gold and stuff like that.
started to wheel me backward.
So we can get more
Stop
under
right
eyes.
there!
So we got hella,
Susan,
I just want more gold.
You
So we
need to
can
stop
get
this. I'm protecting you.
for the
The
piglins.
light lowered, and I could see it was the red-haired
So I'm gonna
woman
go shit
in the bar,
mining.
holding a flashlight in one hand and a gun in the other. I've called the police. They're on their way. It's over. Susan cried out. Sarah, you're my own sister. How could you betray me like this? As sirens sounded in the distance, police arrived, guns drawn, and instructed the red-haired woman, now identified as Sarah, to put down her gun. It turned out the car.
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet with all this things. I just
presumably fed to her pigs. Police suspected there could be as many as 6 other victims still unaccounted for. After
If you
2
got a
days in the
capital,
hospital
you could do
recovering
it
from
if
the
you
drug,
can.
I learned that Susan had intercepted my emails with Sarah, her sister,
So
and had shown up in her place after
57.
sabotaging Sarah's car to
You can dig
delay her.
whatever you want, like straight.
Susan was
So just
arrested and
remember, try
charged
not to
with
get
murder,
lost, like when you dig
though
down
the
here.
full extent of her crimes remained unclear. This ordeal taught me a harsh lesson. A simple drug
I'm gonna
can
dig this way.
incapacitate anyone, no matter their size. It's a dangerous world, especially on blind dates. Thanks to her sister Sarah, I survived what could have been a gruesome death. And in a twist of fate, Sarah and I started dating after the incident.
That's awesome,
Looking back,
dude. I'm gonna
it's
look this
surreal
way.
to think how close I came to a fatal end. But through this nightmare, I found something truly good. My relationship with Sarah. She saved my life, and for that, I'm forever grateful.
Hey, bro, what's the Wi-Fi password?
No way, we're in the middle of an alliance battle. Don't slow down our internet.
I was on a first date with a girl named Amy, and she almost choked to death in the movie theater. We decided to watch a movie and ended up choosing the Transformers film. We weren't sure what to watch, but we thought a movie like that might be a bit silly and fun. As we started watching, we endured the usual long string of ads and trailers that seemed to last forever. Amy chose a big bucket of popcorn, half sweet and half salty, while I picked up some candies and a soda. We found seats not too far from the screen, about 3 rows back. Because of our close seats, my eyes were struggling right from the start. I'd forgotten my glasses, so I had to squint the entire time, which was quite uncomfortable and straining. About halfway through the movie, Amy started to choke. After her 5th cough, I realized something serious was
Give me a
happening.
second, y'all. Give me a second,
She'd
bro. I
accidentally
forgot my
swallowed the
earpods in my
popcorn through a
garage.
hole.
Hold up. I'm back. Hey, watch out, watch out, move. Mine. No, for you, that's for you. No, that's fine. Hey, come here. The thing is, come here.
Choking amid a loud action scene in Transformers.
So,
While I frantically
I didn't kill an Ender Dragon, but
I
like,
didn't know what to do.
after you kill an Ender Dragon, you can start saving them how many diamonds, who could get the most diamonds, you know? Me or you know? Just, if you get like a stack with her, just make it to diamond blocks and put it in your chest, you know?
I didn't even know the name of the move, but I had seen a few videos online and knew it could work. It was hard to believe that something as small and soft as popcorn could cause such trouble.
5 diamonds.
But it seemed
Look at
Amy had just been swallowing it without chewing properly. Maybe even 6 or 7 pieces at once. So there we were,
I got 10.
standing in the middle of the aisle, on the steps of the cinema, and I was desperately trying to get the popcorn out of her throat while the movie...
More diamonds.
By now, several people had noticed our struggle and realized what was happening.
More. Ooh. Don't mind it, cause I got fortune. I got fortune too. You got.
So a group
You
of
gonna give
people
me
helped
less.
carry her into the hallway, closed the cinema door, and quickly called for first aid and security. They dialed 911, but eventually someone managed to perform the maneuver where they raised her arms above her head and then
Hell yeah.
squeezed her lower torso.
Hell yeah, bro.
Finally, a couple of popcorn pieces flew out of her mouth. Then Amy started
Redstone, I
gasping
take
for air.
redstone, I guess,
Her
for
face
the
turned bright
XP.
red from the near-death experience on our first date at the Transformers movie. Oddly enough,
I like the Transformer
Amy is
movie. I
still
like the
my
first
girlfriend
one.
to this
The
day.
first Transformer
We
movie was
often talk
good.
about that night, especially now that we're engaged. It will probably be the highlight
But
of my best
Bumblebee,
man
he was
speech at our
funny as
wedding
hell
next year. He
at
wasn't
the
there,
beginning.
but I've told him the story many times and he finds it incredibly funny. Looking back, it does seem a bit humorous, but at the moment it was terrifying. I can laugh with Amy about it now, but the truth is she could have died that night. No
Damn.
one wants to think about dying in a cinema from choking on popcorn. Eventually, someone did manage to save her, and while I like to say I saved her life, the truth is, I didn't really know how to help, or what move made the difference. I still don't even know how to put someone in the recovery position if needed, which is quite worrying. I should probably sign up for a local first aid course. That night was a shock and an eye-opener, but also a story that Amy and I will always remember.
Hey, whenever you do, bake some diamond armor whenever you can,
This story
because
isn't like those strange love tales.
it ended dragon
This
today.
one made me cautious
Shit,
about
I want to
people
get
I meet
this.
on the internet.
I want chocolate boxes.
I
I
started
want light
chatting
chest,
with
bro.
Jake
I
on
want
a
to
dating
fly.
website. Right from the start, we hit it off. He was easy to talk to, and it seemed like he knew everything I did.
And after that, I'm gonna get
Sometimes
my
we disagreed,
villagers.
but
I'm
nothing big enough to
gonna
keep
make
us
a
from talking
villager,
for more than a couple of
breeder,
hours.
and then I'm gonna have an
First
iron.
couple of
I'm gonna
months,
make a
we never talked about
hu-
meeting in
so
person.
like I'm gonna make an iron farm,
was
but
fine with
it's gonna
that.
be like 100 blocks
Most
away.
guys I've met just want to rush things.
That's why I need
But I'm
the
looking for
chocolate
something
boxes.
real. I didn't want just a fling, so I was happy just chatting online. There was no pressure from either side. It felt right because we both had more important things to focus on in our lives. I started to think my friends were right. Maybe I shouldn't waste time on a relationship that was just online. I was okay with being single for a long time. Even though he lived just an hour away by bus, I never thought of visiting him. That's because my last relationship ended terribly. I caught my ex cheating on me. It hurt a lot. Now, meeting someone new is tough, and I didn't want to mess things up with Jake. But I declined when he suggested we meet. I thought I was doing the right thing, but Jake got upset and didn't talk to me for a whole day. I knew I should have just moved on when he got mad, but I couldn't. I had invested so much time in our relationship, and I wasn't ready to let go over a small fight. I said sorry the next day, and so did he. Things went back to normal as if nothing had happened. Linda, my closest friend,
Yes.
was curious about Jake. I didn't mind her meeting him, but the truth was, I hadn't met him myself. We'd video chatted, texted, and shared photos, but it's not the same as meeting in person. One afternoon at work, I received a text from Jake. His messages always made me smile. Hey, I know it's only been a few hours since we last spoke, but I miss you already. Hope you're having a great day. I read his text out loud and smiled. Then an idea popped into my head, so I texted back. Jake, remember you once asked about grabbing coffee, and I said no? I wrote casually. He replied quickly, yes. I remember saying I wouldn't ask again until you
Ooh.
felt ready. What if I said I'm
Ooh,
ready now?
okay.
I
Hey,
asked.
remember this
Melissa,
is the mark.
if you want to go on a date,
This is the
just
way
say
out.
the word.
Remember that, okay?
You know, you just have to tell me when you're ready, he replied. I paused to think about it. I saw his message, but didn't respond right away. I was hesitant. What if he wasn't what I expected, or something went wrong? Maybe the problem was me, but I couldn't admit it. That evening, after returning from work, I lay on my couch lost in thought.
Damn.
After a while, I decided to
This
call
little.
Cindy. I know you're calling just to bug me. What's up? She answered. Could you be a bit nicer? Imagine, I was kidnapped and replaced by someone else just now. I joked. Seriously though, I need your advice on something. And before you say anything, don't judge me. Just tell me what you think, okay? I sighed. All right, shoot, she replied, ready to listen. I think I'm ready to meet. How about this Saturday? I hesitated before sending the message.
Oh shit, be
But
careful,
finally, I
bro.
pressed send.
Oh shit.
Waiting for his reply was nerve-wracking. My mind raced
Fuck.
with possibilities. What if he was different in person?
Hey, I'll
What if he
give you
wasn't the
some of my
kind-hearted
diamonds.
man I'd come to know
I'll give you 10
The
out of
idea
it,
sent a
okay?
chill down my spine. Jake's response came quickly.
I'll give you
Saturday
10 out
sounds
of it.
perfect. How about the old
Fuck, bro.
cafe downtown at 5 p.m.?
Just make iron
It's
armor
quiet and
again.
has a nice vibe.
No,
That
hey,
sounds
no
great.
make iron armor. I
typed
got
back,
second. I
trying to
got
sound more
second iron
confident
armor
than I felt.
Channon.
As I set down
Go
my phone,
go. You
a
know
strange
where
feeling
is
washed
the
over me.
food area? The little
The night was
the
unusually
food
silent,
area,
and
the
a sense
top
of
one,
unease crept up my
the
spine.
little
I shrugged it
shelf.
off as
That
just
one.
nerves about the
It got
upcoming
Channon
date.
armor, a full set.
The next few days
Just
went
take
by in
that
a blur of work and
and
restless nights. Images
I
of my last
just make
disastrous
yourself an iron
relationship
pick
haunted me,
if you
and the
want.
fear of
If
history
it's a diamond
repeating
pick there,
itself
just take the diamond
gnawed at
pick there.
my
If it's one
thoughts.
there, just take with the
Finally,
not the Channon
Saturday
one,
arrived.
not
I
the Channon
dressed
one,
carefully,
the regular one. Just take
choosing
that
an
one.
outfit that was both
And I gave you
comfortable
10
and
diamonds.
flattering. As
I
I
know
looked
that
at
sucks,
myself in
bro.
the mirror, I tried to
I
muster
just saw
some
that.
excitement, but all I could feel was a growing sense of
So
dread. I arrived at the cafe a few minutes early. The place was more secluded than I remembered, nestled between two old, worn-down buildings. The setting sun cast long shadows, and the wind whistled through the narrow alley, making the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. I stepped inside the cafe, and the cozy warmth did little to ease my nerves. I scanned the room and saw Jake sitting at a table in the corner.
I think I hear
He
a
looked up and
skeleton
smiled,
spawner, bro.
his face a
I don't think I'm
reassuring
tripping.
sight. "Melissa, over here," he called out gently. As I approached, I noticed something odd about the way he was sitting. Rigid and too perfectly poised, like a mannequin. His smile was a bit too wide, too forced. We exchanged greetings and he offered me a cup of coffee. As he handed it to me, his fingers brushed against mine. They were ice cold. "So, Melissa," he began,
Are you good,
his
bro?
voice lower than it
I don't
had
know.
been
I don't
on
know
our
if you're
calls.
mad or not. Like, I
"Tell
don't
me
know how
everything
you,
about your day."
how your
I tried to
reaction.
focus on the conversation, but his intense gaze made
I
me
understand, but
uncomfortable.
did you
As
get
I
the stuff
spoke,
I
he
told
leaned
you
in
what to get
closer,
at in the
nodding
chest,
at everything I
in the
said,
little
his eyes.
thing,
His eyes never
in the
blinked.
little it's like a little
Halfway
barrel,
through my story about
the
work,
little
I
shelf,
paused.
whatever,
Jake's
by
face seemed to twitch
the furnaces
unnaturally,
and shit.
and
Yeah,
for a
okay.
split second, I thought I saw something dark flash across his expression. "Is everything okay?" I asked,
I know I got a
my
silk
voice
touch pick,
trembling
but I don't
slightly.
need that for.
"Perfectly," he replied quickly.
I need that for
With a hint
to
of
grab
something I
hella
couldn't quite
stone.
place. It sounded almost delighted. The conversation continued, but with each passing minute, I felt more trapped. Jake's questions grew more probing, and his demeanor shifted subtly from charming to unnerving. As the evening wore on, the cafe emptied, leaving us alone in the dim light. My discomfort grew until it was almost palpable, filling the space between us like a thick fog. I
I
excused
just
myself
found
to go
another
to the
diamond,
bathroom,
but it
my
was just
heart
one.
pounding in my
What kind of
chest.
shit is that?
In the mirror, I saw my pale face and wide, scared eyes staring back at me. What was happening? Was I overreacting? Or was there something truly wrong with Jake? I decided I couldn't go through with the rest of the evening. I texted my friend Cindy, asking her to call me with an emergency in 5 minutes. As I waited, I rehearsed my escape,
I'm
planning to
gonna
leave as
start
soon as
coming
I
back
got the
up, okay,
call.
bro?
But when I returned to the table, Jake was standing, his expression dark and unreadable. "Leaving so soon?" he asked, his tone cold and menacing. I froze, realizing that the man before me might not be the Jake I thought I knew. The horror of the situation was clear. I was alone with a stranger who might not have my best interests at heart. My breaths were quick and loud as I stumbled through the tall stalks of corn. The night was dark, and the moon only gave off a weak light that barely helped me see my path. Every sound made me jump. The rustling leaves, my own footsteps, even my heart pounding in my chest felt too loud in the eerie silence of the field. "Melissa, don't make this harder than it has to be." Jake's voice echoed behind me, terrifying and cold. I pushed myself harder, ignoring the sharp pain shooting through my leg. I knew I couldn't stop.
I already been down there.
I had to get away from
Like
him.
half of it, not all
Thought
of
of
it.
what would happen if he caught me spurred me on, fear giving me a burst of desperate energy. As I ran, my mind raced with questions. How could I have been so wrong about Jake? What did he want from me? Was this all a game to him from the beginning? The betrayal stung almost as much as the wound in my arm. Suddenly, I tripped over a hidden dip in the ground.
Hey, where you at, bro?
The air was knocked out of me, and for a
You keep
moment,
going down?
I lay there gasping, trying to recover. Pain flared up in my arm and leg, reminding me of my dire situation. I scrambled to my feet, limping as fast as I could. I could hear Jake's footsteps getting closer. He was enjoying this, the chase, the fear he instilled in me. "You can't run forever, Melissa. It's just a matter of time," he shouted, his voice filled with a twisted excitement that made my skin crawl. I glanced back and saw his silhouette not far behind, moving quickly through the cornfield.
That's fine.
Panic surged
I
through
don't
me.
know where's that at.
I
I'm
needed to hide,
trying to
to
get
find
lost.
some way to escape him.
I think
Up
I'm
ahead, I
lost.
saw a slight break in the cornfield. With the last bit of strength I had, I pushed toward it, hoping it might lead to a road or a house, somewhere I could find help. As I reached the edge of the cornfield, I broke into a small clearing. There was an old abandoned farmhouse a short distance away. It looked like it might fall apart at any touch, but it was my only chance. Without hesitation, I ran toward the farmhouse, my breaths ragged, my injuries screaming with every step.
I'm
I
going back
reached
to
the
the
door
base.
and threw myself inside, slamming it shut behind me. The house was dark and smelled of damp and decay, but it offered a momentary refuge.
I'm gonna get shit running over
I
more.
leaned against the door, trying to steady my breathing. I needed to think, to plan my next move. But before I could gather my thoughts, I heard Jake's footsteps outside. He was close. Too close. "Melissa, come out. This doesn't have to end badly." His voice was coaxing now, but underneath the calmness there was an undeniable threat. Terror gripped me again. I looked around frantically for something to defend myself with or another way out. The house creaked ominously, and somewhere in the darkness, a window shattered. The sound made me jump, and I realized this nightmare was far from over. I moved away from the door, deeper into the shadows of the house, my heart pounding. I had to survive, to find a way out. But as Jake's shadow appeared at the broken window, blocking the moonlight, I knew escaping him wouldn't be easy. He was determined, and now, so was I. The fight was far from over, and I had to be ready for anything. My body hurt, and my legs were heavy as lead. My heart pounded so loud I could hear it over my own desperate breaths. Jake's footsteps grew louder and closer with every second. I pushed myself to keep running, to keep ahead of him. The fear of him catching me made me ignore the pain and tiredness. I ran past a broken fence, hearing footsteps right behind me. I dared not stop. I felt him almost touching my back, so I sprinted towards a dark area ahead. My legs weakened. I had lost much blood and my sleeve was soaked with it. I wasn't sure how much longer I could run. Suddenly my strength gave out, and I fell to the ground in the middle of the cornfield. Each second I spent running from Jake was a second spent in fear of what he might do. Tears streamed down my face as I heard the corn stalks bending. Jake was coming towards me. I couldn't move. Then there he was, with that horrible smile, knowing I was trapped. "There you are, my pretty little thing," Jake said as he closed in. I whimpered in fear. "That's sad, but I think I've had my fun." Jake raised his gun, aiming it at me. But then there was the sound of another gun being readied. "I wouldn't do that if I were you," a calm voice said. I looked up and saw an old man standing there with a shotgun. He fired, and Jake was knocked back a few feet. Too tired to move, I lay there on the ground, unable to react. "Are you okay, young lady?" the old man asked. I couldn't speak. My throat was too dry. The next thing I knew, I heard police sirens getting louder. I ended up in the hospital. The old man came with me. He had heard my cries for help. Jake didn't make it. The old man had acted in self-defense and in defense of me. All charges were dropped. It's been 2 weeks since that night. A night I'll never forget. My wounds have healed, and I can use my arm again. One thing is certain. I'm never dating online again. I've learned my lesson the hardest way possible.
Yeah, Grandpa killed her ex. That's crazy. But it wasn't her dad though. It was some random old man. Shoot that. Damn, that's crazy.
It's your anniversary today. You could have arrived empty-handed, but you exist in a world where it's easy to get flowers this fresh.
The building, got out, walked past my car, and then texted me that he saw me in the parking lot.
I found a big
Felt a bit
cave.
weird, but I shrugged it off.
I'm trying not to get lost in here.
We had a good time that day, spending an hour and a half chatting until the restaurant had to close. We talked about the parts of town we live in, our general directions, and the fact that we've both lived there our entire lives. He also mentioned not having any social media accounts, which I found strange since the dating app we used was linked to Facebook. Even though our conversation went well, I wasn't sure if I wanted to pursue things further, so I decided to take some time to think about it. As we left, he walked me to my car, staying oddly close behind me. I shrugged this off and said my awkward goodbyes with a hug before getting into my car. I made sure to watch him leave before driving away. The roads were relatively empty since it was a busy restaurant area, and most places were closing for the night. I reached the main road and noticed a car behind me also preparing to turn. It was at this point I remembered I had to stop by the grocery store to pick up some things for tomorrow's dinner.
Oh, okay.
The car behind me seemed to stay far back as we waited at the red light.
I'm gonna cut
Upon closer
everything.
inspection, I
Oh my
realized
god, fucking skeleton, bro.
I told myself it was just a coincidence. Maybe he had errands to run as well.
Oh, you making me lag, bro.
As I reached the
Okay, I joined you. Okay, stop texting, please. You're making me lag. I joined your party.
It was strange, but I reasoned he might just be
I joined you,
unfamiliar
bro.
with the
Oh,
area.
bullshit.
However,
It's not fun.
it was odd that he didn't text or indicate in any way that he was behind me. We were the only two cars on the road after all. I pulled into the grocery store parking lot and saw him park in a row before mine. Deciding not to stop, I looped around and exited back onto the main road. As I drove off, I noticed him scanning the parking lot, not just casually looking for a better spot, but actively searching for something or someone. Feeling uneasy, I decided to drive to another grocery store further away in a more populated part of town where I knew some friends would be. I used to work there, so I felt safe. I haven't heard from him since that night, and I believe he knows that I'm onto him. Despite my initial reluctance, I decided to do some online digging. Turns out his first name wasn't what he had told me. I combed through our texts and found a screenshot he had sent me of an Instagram page showing mutual followers. I remembered then he indeed had an Instagram account, another red flag I had overlooked. I started sifting through the listed accounts until I found one that wasn't private and eventually landed on his profile. From there, I managed to reverse image search and found his Facebook profile. His first name was different there, and the listed city was nowhere near where he had claimed to live. Looks like it's time for me to delete my dating profile again. A while back, I used to work at a neighborhood casino. Some of the folks who frequented the place were a bit odd, but there was one man who often flirted with me, and he seemed pretty okay. So when he asked me out, I said yes on the following weekend. Our first rendezvous was at his buddy's place on a Saturday evening for a laid-back barbecue party. Everything seemed cool. The grub was okay, but I couldn't help but notice that my date was downing Jell-O shots in the water. After the barbecue, we all decided to hit up a local bar for some more fun. My first sign that things might not be okay was when my date forcibly tried to French kiss me and thrust his tongue in my mouth. But being naive and unsure of myself, I just blamed his behavior on the booze.
What's going on?
We arrived at the bar, and everything seemed fine until they extended an invite for another shindig that was planned for a few days later. But I had other commitments, and so I turned them down politely. My date's demeanor suddenly took a turn for the worse, and he became really aggressive and upset. Almost instantly, he started berating me, calling me names, and accused me of behaving inappropriately at other parties. I was dumbstruck. He continued his tirade, growing more belligerent, and continued accusing me of intending to meet other men. By this time, I was genuinely scared and decided it was time for me to get out of there. This man followed me all the way to the parking area, continuing his verbal assault. I told him firmly that I didn't want to talk anymore and made an attempt to get into my car. However, things quickly escalated. Out of the blue, he seized me by the shoulder, forcing me against my vehicle. Using one hand, he clutched my neck.
Hey, but I'm gonna get on later, though. Have a good day. I'm gonna take a break.
He tried to strangle me, showering me